I'm so nervous.
Don't be nervous. It's all good.
I'm joking.
We'll get through this together.
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Isn't that what they say?
I think so. Yeah.
So we're live now.
I've never heard that.
No.
You're a liar, Thomas. I think you've called that to me several times.
I never heard that one, man. I don't know. Isn't it just all about me? What's this team thing?
Yeah. Is there a team somewhere?
What's this team thing? I want all the glory, man. You know, why share that?
Spoken like a true J Concepts guy.
Oh.
No, we were the most team guys out there.
Hey,
Let
why
me
are
tell
you
you.
having sweaters, by the way? What's the weather like over there?
In Illinois?
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Before we
absolutely
answer that,
amazing. Like you don't like California weather can't even compare to what it is right now here in Champaign, Illinois. Like it's beautiful.
Hey Daniel, here's the best one of all. Thomas gets here, and this is priceless. He gets here, and it's like unseasonably warm. It's 70 and 80 degrees. Thomas is like, man, I heard all these bad things about Illinois. 2 days later, the first thing he says to me in our training that morning was, dude, what's up with the weather? It went from 75 degrees to like 35 degrees in 2 days.
Wow.
Well, the funny part is, so I left Florida, drove up, and when I left Florida, it was like 85 degrees, sunny, nice, just a beautiful Florida spring days, just in a row. I'm like, dang, man. And then I go up here, I drive up 16 hours, 17 hours or something like that, and the first day I get here, it's snowing. I'm like, what?
Welcome.
It's snowing at the end of March? Fuck.
And then 2 days later, it's 80.
Yeah, then it was 80, and then it went back to crap, and I'm like, what in the heck is going on with your guys' weather up here, man? And yeah, that's typical. That's typical. I'm like, oh, jeez, what did I get myself into? You're like, oh, God.
Yeah, I was wondering about the sweater situation. It's like 95 here, so.
Right. Oh.
I'll take
the last
all
nice
4
day
seasons.
too. Yeah.
What's that?
Pretty sure today's like the last nice day for like a week or so now.
Yeah.
What? No.
Oh, we got.
Nah. Don't say
We
that.
got frost advisory warnings on our phone this morning.
What does that even mean?
We got heat wave warning.
So the next few days, if you have any precious flowers outside, you have to cover them up because it's going to be probably below freezing the next couple of mornings.
Oh, wow.
That doesn't sound fun.
You guys have fun?
Especially for May. Like, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Crazy. Hey, just so you know, Daniel, I came.
Adam.
Sorry.
Attaboy.
I came prepared. Look at that.
Good job,
Scott. Proline for life.
I'm proud of you. I'm going to make sure Todd sends you an extra Christmas card this year.
Oh, good. No, I'm a Proline guy for life. Always have been. Always will be. That's just.
So we got
Todd and Dale have helped me out with so much information in life. I can't see ever even contemplating running a different tire or body.
It's awesome. It's all good, man. I love everybody.
Yep. All right, Thomas, we are 4 minutes in. Why don't you take it away?
Yo, what's going on, everybody? I hope everybody is safe and sound. I know it's kind of a crazy week. It seems like it gets crazier every week. It doesn't seem to kind of calm down. It just kind of gets a little more escalated. But I hope everybody's safe. Thanks for joining us for this Thursday, 7 o'clock at 7:05. And man, we are here with. I would love to say we are here with my guy, but Daniel's not really my guy, but we've always gotten along at the races. I've seen him countless times over the years. And the funny thing is, people would imagine that we'd probably be enemies, but we're actually pretty good friends. Like, I have no animosity, working for J Concepts and Daniel being Mr. Proline, and I love that about Daniel. So I would like to welcome Daniel Adams to the show. Daniel, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
So let's give a quick update with your COVID situation, since that is kind of what is on the news lately. How is it affecting you, your life, and your work?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, in California, we got put on lockdown pretty quick when all this stuff hit, and it hit quick, man. And we had to send a lot of people home to work from home. I myself was at home for 3 weeks, just kind of working remotely, talking to people in and out. A lot of the distributors had shut down and stuff like that, and it just kind of crazy time, man. And business wise, we had to send a lot of people home, and we don't have operations going. We're not producing as much stuff, and fortunately, it seems like we're getting to this point where the curve's kind of ended, and they're talking about opening things up actually tomorrow.
Yeah.
To where we're going to have some more leniency to be able to do stuff. And, for me personally at home, my wife works for a grocery store chain and has for 20 years. So she's been at work every day, around everybody. And I'm pretty sure she already had this stuff back in December because she had a really bad cold and they couldn't figure out what it was. And I know other people that have had this and, they've had, struggle a little bit for a day or two, and they've been able to get past it, and, I'm just blessed. I haven't had anybody with any serious, issues, revolving around this stuff, and we're able to get back to work. And last week was my first full week back in the office, and just crazy times for all of us, man. It's definitely unprecedented, and we're all kind of dealing with it. So.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's crazy how now the industry's kind of changed its focus a little bit. A lot of people doing online stuff. A lot of people trying to find ways to kind of connect, because we don't have that connection physically at the track and at race events. It's kind of definitely switched gears for the industry here. And some good things I've seen come from this, which is kind of nice to see. A lot more people are interactive now. A lot more people are doing videos and putting something out there to connect with people. And it's good, I think, for the industry to share information from drivers. I see so many shock building videos now. It's crazy.
I hope it continues. I really do. That's my only fear, is that once this goes away and people get to somewhat normal life, that some of this stuff would go away, which I really hope it doesn't. Because everyone seems to like what we're doing here, and I think it's good for the industry.
Yeah, I think
it's really cool find that balance.
Yeah, it's really awesome the way everybody's been connecting, doing videos, going out of the way to do things differently. It's been cool. I mean, even doing this with you guys, I haven't seen you guys in months. I mean, Thomas, I haven't seen you since 3D race. Just connecting with you guys like this is cool. You know what I mean? You get to see familiar faces. And Scott, I mean, I don't even know the last time I've seen you face to face. So I think it's good. I think it's good for all of us. It's good. It's good for just that person to person interaction.
What's your opinion on what racing is going to be like once we kind of get back to it? Do you think it's going to be like nothing ever happened? Do you think it's going to be no one going, half people going?
I mean, everybody believes something different. You know what I mean? Some people aren't worried about this at all, and others are. You know what I mean? So there's going to be always the two sides. And, my opinion, I don't know that it's the greatest idea to have 300, 400 people together in groups, right off the bat. But I think we need to get back to some type of normalcy for everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody's on a little stir crazy. They've been stuck at home. They can't go to the barber shop, can't go to places that they're used to going, or just even like a regular home store to go do stuff. It's just been chaotic down here. I mean, you go to Home Depot, it takes an hour just to try to check out and shop. You know what I mean? That's not like me personally shopping. That's like stuff I need to get for supplies. And, with the racing side of it, I think there's going to be some people that are still a little nervous, and rightfully so, man. It's definitely some weird times for all of us. And, I don't really know what's going to happen. I know there's some races coming up, and, people are definitely going to go for sure, and how many, it's hard to say,
So do you think because I know there's a lot of questions about the Roar Nats right now, if they have a Roar Nats and they reduce the number of drivers on the stand, or they reduce the number of entries that they're going to allow or something like that, Do you think there's going to be an asterisk next to the national champion this year?
Yeah, the only bummer to that is, I mean, the purpose of the Nationals is you bring in all the best guys together, for a national championship. You know what I mean? And you can only fit 6 guys on the first stand. You've depleted, the possible 6 other guys that could be in the main.
Yeah.
And, it's just not going to be the same caliber of event. You know what I mean? You're not going to have, obviously, right now companies don't have as much money as well. You know what I mean? Everybody's kind of cutting.
So let me get to the point and ask you this. The elephant's in the room.
Oh, God.
Do you think Roar should cancel this year's Nationals?
I don't know. Cancel it or move it back maybe later, but at right now, just because of how close it is to everything that we're still dealing with,
yeah,
it's gonna be hard for people, like for the traveling. I mean, not every racer is working right now. You know what I mean? Even though you have employment, you know what I mean. There's still that uncertainty in life right now. What's going on?
Yeah.
I'm not personally going out and trying to buy, anything crazy out of my means right now. You know what I mean? I'm like keeping everything tight grouped, and people are going to have to fly. They're going to have to drive. They're going to have to stay in hotels, and right now for a lot of people, it's outside their comfort zone a little bit. So
yeah. Even just trying to book that last minute. I mean, it sounds like it's going to kind of come down to the wire, like a couple weeks before, if we even can have it or not. So just trying to book all that travel and stuff for a lot of people is definitely going to make it pretty difficult. So, but that kind of seems like that's how it's going to be in general. Is we're gonna, 2 weeks before every event, it's been canceled for the most part. So it's kind of I think we're all kind of flying by the seat of our pants and. Just trying to be prepared for everything, just for whenever it does start back up.
Yeah, so, I got to prepare a bunch of tires for events. You know what I mean? And are we going to do it? How am I going to set up where it's going? Like 2 weeks is not like a whole lot of time to try to figure out. 1,500 tires or 2,000.
Hey, are you guys driving to the Nationals?
No.
I just Daniel by himself.
You drove to State Line, I was like,
"Yeah,
are you serious? You drove?" Yeah.
I did it, and I told myself when I got home I would not.
I was like, "You drove?" And you're like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, man, that must have been just 2 or 3 days of driving."
It was,
especially the driving back part. He's just like,
going there. It was, oh yeah, cool, we're going, and afterwards you're like, all the way back home. Yeah, it was a little rough. I mean, obviously, you get some like tornado warnings. You hit some, there's stuff you hit it wrong the way. We're not used to in California. Yeah, that was a long haul, man. So. I won't be doing that for sure.
So has Proline have you guys as a company talked about what your stance is going to be or what your plan is? Like I know inside of Horizon right now, there's a lot of talk of, okay, as a company, we're not going to do this or we are going to do this. Have you guys had any of those type of meetings?
Yeah. So, I mean, since the time I got back, we've been talking about it. I mean, obviously there's going to have to be some cutbacks this year on where you can go, what you can do, how many events you can attend. And that's going to be for everybody across the board. I mean, there's just, you've got basically 2 months of nothing going on. Everybody's going to try to, move their races around that they can. And I get it, because some of these people rely on, the races and the money coming from the races to fund the race for the next year and the year after that. And, we're definitely talking about, what's going to be the priority and what maybe has to suffer a little bit this year, just in the in the time that we're living in. And we don't have anything in concrete yet. I'm working with the guys here, Matt and Tim and everybody, and we'll definitely have something solid here coming up pretty soon. But it's definitely on our radar. We're definitely talking about it. And I mean, like all you guys, I'd like to go to every race. It's just not humanly possible, So
very cool. All right, so. Do we want to get the dumb dad jokes out of the way for this week?
Let's do it.
All right, Daniel, you're the guest, so you get to go first.
Challenger goes first.
I don't even have that graded one. Okay, so what did they say to the other?
What?
What did the one toilet say to the other?
Oh. What the flush happened?
No. Close. Close. It says, "Man, you look flushed." Sorry.
Not bad.
Your text about getting a joke earlier, so that's the best I can do.
That was probably the most I've laughed at one of these dad jokes because it was so bad.
No.
Keep in mind,
We'll see how bad mine is.
All right, who's on next?
All right,
Scott.
I'm the only dad, so I'm the only
Yeah.
other one that gets to do it. So, before all this happened, I went to go get my driver's license renewed. And they asked me a question. I thought, wow, it takes a lot of guts to be an organ donor.
Oh Lord!
Ouch! Yeah.
You always have stories, Scott. You have like a whole skit planned out, like a whole conversation.
When guys and flush it down the toilet joke.
Like Daniel's joke, when he said his, I didn't even know he was done. I was like, wait, what?
Well, yeah, okay. I'll give you my backup joke was,
This man has a backup.
He's got like a list next to his computer. He's not showing us.
Yeah.
He's got screen share your thing, buddy.
Yeah.
What does a pampered cow produce?
A pampered cow.
Spoiled milk.
Oh God.
Oh man.
That is a true dad joke right there, man.
Yes.
That is pretty good. All right. I think Scott wins that one. Daniel's effort level was like...
Dude, I didn't get the text, man. I was put on the spot. This is off the brain.
It was so funny. It was so bad that it was funny. So it's all good. Yeah. All right.
It is, dude.
Well, Daniel,
right,
now you get to be put through the ringer by Thomas.
Yeah. Okay. So every episode, I don't know if you watch these or not, but every episode we always have 10 questions. Same 10 questions for every guest that we have. So, are you ready, Daniel?
I'm as ready as I'm going to be.
All right. This is RC related, pretty much. Okay. Number 1, best thing about RC racing.
Friends.
Friends?
Yep. All the people.
Friends?
Yep.
You made friends in RCs? What?
Well, some, not all.
Who are some of your best friends or close friends that you've made through the journey here?
There's still a lot of guys I talk to. Victor Guerrero, Eddie Lorette, Travis Corey, guys that live out here. Obviously, Matt Sistrunk doesn't really race anymore, but he's in Texas. I've known him for years. Just a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of people I still talk to, still see. I still consider everybody my friend unless at some point, they've done me wrong. You know what I mean? I still give them the benefit of the doubt, but fortunately, I don't run into that too much. You know what I mean? I try to in the lane and stay neutral. So yeah,
I kind of in the same boat. I always try to stay neutral to stuff.
Yeah, gotta stay in your lane.
What's interesting is out of all the guests we've had so far, there's only been one person that has said the racing or the competition. Otherwise, every single guest we've had has said friends. That's everyone's first thing.
And then it really goes to show you what the racing really is about. You know what I mean? Like, it is a lot about the friendship, and I think for a lot of people that they get kind of lost. That they get so wrapped up in competition that they forget about having fun with their buddies.
Yeah.
All right.
If you're going to do something and you can't have fun doing it, then why are you even doing it?
Yeah. I see so many people complaining about stuff. I'm like, yo, just do something else. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't like it, if it's not for you, you don't have to sit there and rag on everything. You can pick and choose to do something else that's more enjoyable for you. So,
there's other options and other hobbies in life, man.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it seems like most of people's friends, like you guys have a common interest, so it makes sense that, you know, for RC, for everyone that's in RC so much, that it's, you know, it's about friendships and you know, just all those relationships that you make.
Yeah. It's weird because like now all my friends are basically all RC people. You know what I mean? Like since I moved away from home, like all my home friends are obviously at home. You know, so I never get to really see them.
Yeah.
So it's like all the people I see and hang out with are all RC people now. So it's just like, you know, this nationwide family. It's crazy. That bond really kind of links everybody together.
Yeah, it's kind of the same way I am. I mean, I've got this and I've got my normal family, but, you know, other than that, I mean, this is what I do day in, day out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of important that we have these friendships with people, you know?
Yeah, for sure. All right, number 2, best era of RC, the old school era or the new school era?
Old school for sure.
Wow, that was a quick one.
Yep.
What don't you like about the new school era?
It's not so much that I don't like it. It's just, it seems like back in the day, people had to work a little harder for what they have, you know. And back then, to build a kit, art form, man. Like if you got an RC10 and you had a mill, like you had to make a chassis, you had to cut everything down, you had to know how to shape your gears, and you know, it's just the racing time back then to me seemed a little more simpler, you know, if you will, and not everybody was so focused on, you know, sponsorships and you know, everybody was just club racing and having a good time, you know. And to me, that's something, you know, that I miss, was the club racing aspect. I mean, you know, when Brian was around, like, you know, way back in the day when I ran a hobby shop, like that's all we did was hang out all day long from, you know, 10 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? And what we did was just make parts, build cars, and go drive them. You know what I mean? And we had solid club races. You know what I mean? Not everybody was working. People just wanted to go club race and hang out. And you know, it wasn't uncommon for us to have 100 people at a club race a night. You know what I mean? So, yeah, just for me, it was just, you know, the art form was there too. You know, the stuff you had to do to make the cars work. And you know, I mean, I grew up through it. So obviously, you know, I miss it a little bit, you know, so.
So with you saying that, just so that the viewers know who may not know you, just real quickly, when did you start RC racing and how long have you been at Proline?
I've been at Proline almost 16 years now. This August will be 16 years. And I've been doing RC for 28 years now.
Wow.
My first job, I started when I was 15. I was the race director at my local track. I was actually kind of thrown into it and started doing it. So unfortunately, the track's been gone for many years now. It was M&M Hobbies in Corona. And that's where I met a lot of these guys, you know, like Brian and Billy Easton, Mark Vias, like all these guys. I met them there, you know, working there, running the races, you know, and you know, I did the Reedy race. I announced the Reedy race for like 3 or 4 years, I think it was, when it was there.
That's cool.
And yeah, so I've kind of always been in, you know, I actually worked at Losi, I think it was 95, 96, when it was, you know, in Chino. And I got to work with Gil and Richard and Brandon Upshaw and, you know, all the people that worked there. And so, yeah, I've been doing this a long time. I'm a dinosaur now. I'm 41, so.
You still announce at Surf City sometimes, don't you?
No, Surf City's mixed deal.
Okay.
Yeah,
I remember you announcing somewhere. I feel like at OCRC, but
no, I this past year I did the Adelano GP. I've done some stuff for Dialed In up in Victorville.
Okay.
You know, I've done, you know, the SoCal Nitro Shootout that was here a few times. I do events here and there, not as much as I used to, but I mean, back in the day, I used to do like the Endless Summer Classics. I did the Norca Nationals, you know, mini race stuff. So, but yeah, this is full time over here now, so I kind of do it on the weekend on the side if I can.
Yeah.
So.
All right, we'll get back into more of your past and that stuff, but we'll truck through these couple questions here. Number 3, best current driver in the world according to you.
Best current driver in the world according to me.
On road or off road?
That's a tough one. There's so many good drivers. Would you like multiple choice?
No, you got to pick one. In your opinion, who is the best
B, C,
driver?
and D.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's tough.
Wow.
Somebody like overall that gets it done in 10 scale and 8 scale would probably be Mayfield.
Mayfield.
Plus, he's fun to hang around with.
Yeah, he honestly he's one of the most fun guys to be around. Like I could sit there in the pits just because usually I'm often am because we're at the races I'll be like my computer setup is next close to his pits, or because Jason's usually by him too. So then I'll just listen to his comments and his reactions to things, and it's just a good time. Everything that he says is just so funny because it's a little bit blown out of proportion. It's got the Mayfield twist on it, so it's always something funny, man. It's crazy.
By the way, no offense, Dakota, I still love you.
No, you're good.
All right, moving on. Best best driver of all time. So that last question was best driver in the world. Now it's best driver of all time, old school, new school, currently, past, present, future, whatever you think, man.
I honestly think if you had to take from all the different racing, but not only the racing, just somebody that was a pioneer to make things happen, I would definitely say Brian Kinwald for sure. Like, we spent a lot of time together. I mean, I was with him when he won the Worlds in '97. I mean, he won the Reedy race so many times, so many nationals, and just the passion that he had for everything he did and the details to all of his cars he built and everything. Like, it's just insane how much time he invested in everything he did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I never actually got to hang out with Brian. Like, I never really got to know him on that level, So I feel like now none of us can really experience that or be around him and learn, how he was different or what made him special, What did you think that makes Brian really just stand out as just an individual, not just a racer?
When I met Brian at first, he was a little standoffish, you know what I mean? Like, he's not the kind of person to just come out and try to like approach you and like, hey, dude, you want to hang out with me? And me managing the track, we kind of developed this friendship, and we got to the point where it was just like, you want to build cars, you want to do this, let's hang out all night long. We took the arms on the XXX and turned them around backwards on the mill that we had at the track. You know what I mean? Like, let's just see what stuff does. You know what I mean? And when he started doing the tie dyes and stuff, like, we have batteries everywhere on the pits, and this trisodium phosphate, and we're just dipping stuff in with electrical charges, and all this stuff. And you're thinking like, man, I should probably not be doing this, but I'm going to see what happens. You know what I mean? And then just the way he built his cars, the time he took, the care he took to do it. And even like the group we had, back in the day, we called it like Team Homies, and it was a group of a bunch of guys, and we would all just get together and hang out and build cars, and sometimes obviously do stupid stuff. Some of you guys have probably seen the video on YouTube, stuff we did back in the day. And but yeah, it was just that the attention to detail and the care he put into it and his builds, and it was just it was a cool era. Definitely hanging out with him for sure.
The part that I find so amazing about that is like, people who do that kind of stuff usually have this big fancy engineering background, and Brian didn't have any of that. That was just purely his brain. I mean, his ingenuity coming through, and that's what I find so amazing about it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he had I went to his house several times, and his garage by no means was clean. You know what I mean? There was so much stuff. It was just insane, But he had drill presses and, a little lathe and a little CNC. Just so much mad science stuff going on there. It was just crazy. You know what I mean? And, in his living room, like, you couldn't find a space to sit. There were so many trophies and characters, car kits everywhere. But it just shows you, like, that was just his life, man. And that's what he liked to do. And that was the way it was for him. You know what I mean? And then, there might be, somebody, like a Cavalieri or a Dakota or somebody that, takes that place in time, you know what I mean, for the new school guys. And And it just takes those guys to step up. And it's cool to see, the new guys. Like Dakota was super young when I met him, and he's come up a long way. Same thing with Ryan and Ty and all these guys, But I'll always remember the old school guys and how they were able to make things work and just kind of, like I said, the mad science to the building the cars and stuff was fun.
Do you think that there's anyone in this era that can do what he did? Right now.
I mean, there's always a possibility. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Right now it seems like racing is so focused on the big events and the trophies now, not so much like the club racing and the just hanging out with people. I would like to see it get back to that some, and then I think we would see something like this to where somebody just stands out, as that guy that, he's just the local guy helping everybody. He's got all these guys, hanging out with him under his wing, and
he had a following, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Like every track I saw him at, there were a group of dudes just kind of like wanting to be around him all the time.
Right.
Like he had this kind of like aura where other racers were just attracted to him and wanting to learn and be around him, and it was like people wanting to be around greatness almost.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no discounting his success. You know what I mean? He had so much success in his career, and you're successful when they're naming kits after you. You have your own line of just about everything. You know what I mean? And it's just it's going to happen for more people for sure. And he's just kind of like the standout guy for me. Like I said, I spent a lot of years of my life with him.
Yeah.
And, for me, that's just it's memories that I'll always have. So.
Yeah, that dude will be missed for sure. All right, moving on. Not to put anything a damper on that, but what is the number one track to you? What is the ultimate track in RCs to you?
Ultimate track in RCs.
Yeah, what is the best track that you've seen, that you've like?
I've been to a lot of tracks, but obviously for me, I'm kind of partial to the guys at OCRC. They're super good friends of mine. Like, is awesome. Nick is awesome. RB is awesome. The vibe down there is super cool. They let me go behind the counter and run the hobby shop and sell stuff and run the register. And, years ago, was it 2 years ago, they bought my wife and I a cruise for helping them out. So I'm definitely partial to those guys. And, they love having us down there. And, they run a great program, and the facility's cool, man. It's nice because it's, 10 minutes from the beach. If you want to go to the beach, you can hang out. Just the location is super chill, and I've been to a lot of tracks. Definitely outdoor tracks and stuff too, but it's kind of cool to be indoors and not having to worry about too much. You're not sucking in fumes or tuning motors or anything. You can just charge your car and go run it. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of partial to those guys. There's obviously a million other tracks, and I love everybody that owns them. You know what I mean? But for me, that's just kind of my go-to place. I've got a good relationship with those guys. So
awesome, man. Would that make the best race event to you the Reedy race?
I really like the Reedy race format for sure, just because it's unique. I like the way that it works out, and I like the competition. And the format for those guys is cool. It's stressful too for those guys as well, because each time they hit the track,
just a little.
Yeah, it's not like just one main where maybe something breaks and you don't have a chance for redemption. You know what I mean? You got multiple chances. So that's the cool thing about that race. You know what I mean? And obviously Mike starting it way back in the day, for it to continue on now is what's even more awesome. So I think for electric race, the Reedy race, for sure. If I had to say like a nitro race, that's a tough call. There's a lot of killer nitro races.
Yeah, tons, man.
I've been to AMS. It's awesome. You know what I mean? A lot of these indoor arena type things are cool. Silver State obviously is freaking awesome, dude. Like, where are you going to race at a hotel casino where if you want to take a break, you go up an elevator and hang out in your room for a half hour?
it's like it's the only 8-scale race held at a casino, man. In Vegas. Like, it's definitely unique, even though the traction sucks, or you know what I mean, like the dirt's tough, but like, the rest of it is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you got like I said, the stands are full of people, and half the people you probably don't even know, and they're just wandering around having a beer, watching RC.
Yep.
It's crazy. So sorry, I had a departure in the building. So, but So nitro race, I'd say for sure. Silver State right now. Electric race for sure. V-race.
So you like the Silver State that much, huh?
I just like the vibe, dude. I think it's cool. Like
of the 8-scale races, or of the races in general, that one's different because to me, like after qualifying's done or after the day is done, like everybody's downstairs. You know what I mean? You really get to see, and you can mingle with this group of guys. You can go over here and hang out with these group of guys. You can go over here and, hey, what's up, dude? How's your day? Like you can catch up and hang out with almost everybody or anybody, Like it's a way different vibe than all the other races, because mostly the other races, everybody breaks off at night, goes to dinner, and then goes back to the hotel and they're done. But like that race, it's a more chill hangout afterwards, and let's have a drink or get some food.
Yeah, I remember last year. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go for it.
I was just saying, I remember last year, like we get done with racing on Saturday and came downstairs, and it was probably over 100 people all hanging out, watching Supercross together, just pulling up all the chairs and stuff, and it's just cool to see. You don't really see that at any of the races.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say exactly. Like you don't, everybody's at hotels 5, 6 miles, 10 miles apart. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of like little small groups in there. Everybody's kind of culminated together and just kind of hanging out, and it's it's good that we all get together in one place and just have an event. You know what I mean? Where you're not having to just do anything crazy, drive out of your way.
Hey Daniel, when are we gonna have the Proline Hawaii Classic? Like we keep pushing that off for some reason, man. Like I don't know why. You're not responding to my emails about the Proline.
I think Thomas is hitting everyone up about this.
Yeah, for sure. Because okay, so put the formula together. Like, okay, we said all the cool things about Silver State, right? You hang out together afterwards. It's kind of like it's almost like a mini party. Like afterwards in the evenings. At the race, it's a normal race. But so like if you had a race in Hawaii, man, like it would be kind of the same vibe, people hanging out, doing stuff, adventuring, spending, because most of us are friends with each other, so like we'll break off and go golfing or something, or like what I mean, like it'd be a mix of a great trip / good time.
All right, first and foremost, Thomas had vacation on his mind. Race second.
No, I'm thinking of a great race setting. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm down.
I'm thinking about the plane ride.
Yeah, we got to build a track. Obviously, I don't think they have a track down there, so
we could build it over the water.
Okay, you could have lava running through.
I got a better idea. All right, we'll build a
crossover lava.
Sorry, this starting to sound like a putt-putt golf competition. Come on.
So carpet track, top of a cruise ship that sells to Hawaii.
There we go.
Right?
That would work.
And now you get to race on the ship while you hang out, and then you get off and get to hang out.
Okay. All right. Next question. So it's probably the most serious question we got. White wheels or yellow wheels?
This is the most serious question.
I thought the last one was the most serious question.
Yeah,
that was
I'm definitely a white wheel guy.
I knew it. I knew it.
That's the first.
Yeah.
I could tell miles away when I first looked at you. Like, this guy's a white wheel guy, isn't he?
Right now, it's just going with my paint job, and I don't know. I'm just feeling the white vibe.
Okay. Do you have a paint job? All right.
It's somewhere. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Dark Side still does my paints when I actually have a chance to run a car, which right now is kind of few and far between. But
when's the last time you raced?
Oh God. Maybe Surf City last year.
Oh, geez.
I did Holiday Brawl at OCRC.
Okay, so that's what, December?
It ended in December, so that's the last time I've touched a car. Yeah. I was going to run Reedy Race, but remember, somebody jacked my radio.
Yeah, man. What was the story with that? Did you ever find it? Like,
no, never found it.
So somebody just took your radio.
Yeah, I mean, I left it in the pit, you know what I mean? But usually everything there is safe. And I think they had the back door open because they were spraying paint. And somebody must have came by and saw it. You know, whatever. It is what it is. It sucked. But yeah, I mean, I tried to drive with Jake's M17. I couldn't even drive my car. It was totally different from what I was used to. So I decided just to hang out in the shop and hang out with the guys and run around. So.
All right. Quick question. M17 thumbs up or thumbs down?
I did not personally like it. A lot of time with it, but for me, it just seemed like it was just too responsive. I'm old, dude. Like I don't have video game reflexes anymore.
Too connected.
Yeah, too responsive. Like you turn the wheel and it's just like, yeah. You know?
Cool.
Yeah.
Positive expo.
Yeah.
Holy smoke.
I was positive I couldn't drive my car.
Okay, so on this white-wheeled buggy of yours, do you prefer to race carpet or dirt?
I mean, obviously, I'm an old school guy, so I like the dirt. It's just what I grew up with, and I'm used to it. And we used to build the tracks at M&M dirt all the time, so I'm still a dirt guy.
Yeah, dirt don't hurt, man. Dirt don't hurt.
Well, it can, but
okay. So then we still have dirt these days. Treads or slicks?
Oh God, treads for sure.
Another quick answer.
Yeah. I'm telling you,
he wins the most decisive award.
Yeah.
What is your beef?
I have a video on my phone. Huh?
What is the beef with slicks, man?
Where do we want me to start?
I could go all day, but
I had a video from the Nationals last year, and I swear it was Dakota in his pit, Ty in his pit. I'm trying to figure out who else it was. There was like 7 drills going off at the same time. Yeah. And all you hear is this ominous humming. And I'm just like, so I made all these cool tires to burn all the tread off. You know what I mean? So 1, that's the issue I have. And 2, I really don't think that liquid wrench is good for us. And to be rubber all day long, I don't think that's good as well. You know what I mean? So I would much rather just a little bit of sauce, you know, maybe scruff your tires in the parking lot and go run. I'm not a fan of like burning up tires. And I think they said at Ohio at the CRC this past year, he swept up all the dust from the tires.
Oh, dude, it was crazy.
35 pounds worth of tire dust.
Wow.
Yeah. I have a picture. I have a picture on my phone, man. I took a picture of that. It is like a bucket, like that, and it's full to the top of all tire dust.
And you think how many people probably already pre-sanded a lot of their tires to begin with? How much was actually? I mean, there's probably well over 100 pounds that was sanded for that race.
Dude, in total, yeah.
Ahead of time, right, Dakota? You prep stuff before you got there?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think any tracks would ever pass a no drill or no sand rule at the track?
I mean, they've tried to, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, you have some people that'll play within the rules. And then you have some people that like to be that oddball that wanted to break the rules, you know what I mean? So you're always kind of like, how do you police it? You know what I mean? Just like Neo Buggy tried to do years ago, they were trying to police saucing. Like you can't use any type
of differs.
tires. You know, like, well, how are you going to police it? You know what I mean? Like, unless you impound every single tire that everybody's going to run.
Yeah.
I mean, then you like the Reedy race with the format for the invite guys, their tires get impounded. They can't take them in. But the open guys, they can take their tires home. So it's who's to say, like, I'm not saying they do it, but I'm saying they probably do it. You know what I mean?
There's some that do. Yeah. Let's just say
the side bright comes out, you know what I mean, and the liquid wrench goes on, you know what I mean? And I mean that happens in every form of racing. I'm not saying it's just RC racers that do it, you know what I mean? But I'm not a fan of burning in brand new tires that we spent hours making. So.
Yeah, it's tough, man, right? And it's and the state of racing right now, it's really that doesn't really appeal to like new drivers or new people trying to learn how to get into this. It's a very hard step that people, I think, have a problem wrapping their head around. One, it's unhealthy. Two, it's a lot of work. Three, it's like, do you really want to be doing this?
Yeah. Well, for those people too, yeah, you have a slick, but a slick doesn't last forever either. It gets to the point where it's so thin, and if the tire's snapping too bad or it's not performing right, then you got to make another set of slicks.
Yeah.
It's not like a normal braking process. You're basically burning the tire down and over saucing it.
I asked this question to a couple of our guests before. So if you guys know, as Proline, that everyone wants this tire. How can you guys even produce the tire that they want? Because obviously they don't want the slick that you produce.
Yeah, it's tough because what happens is when you start burning the tire, it kind of changes the structure of the tire itself. And that's what these guys are looking for. It kind of opens up the pores in the rubber and allows the rubber to be more susceptible to taking in the sauce. You know what I mean? And the braking process is definitely a lot faster. You know what I mean? You're not, when you mold a tire, it's automatically going to have that kind of sheen to it. You know what I mean? And these guys aren't looking for the sheen. You know what I mean? You're trying to get them kind of scuffed in, get to the point where they'll, the sauce will soak in. It's not just going to sit on the tire. And, we've tried different variations and, we've gone back and forth, and it's always been that everybody likes the ground down tire better.
Yeah. Can you explain why, in the process of why none of the companies are able to make a pre-made slick that basically you can just take out of the bag and go?
There's some that work for sure. But again, it's like I said, the process is you're trying to open up the rubber, right? And when a tire is molded, it's natural, basically the natural way that it's molded is it closes all the cells and seals itself up. You know what I mean? The way that rubber is, So that's why even if you do like kind of like a rough finish or a texture or something like that, even those little pores and everything that you put are eventually, they just seal up. You know what I mean? It's going to still have a sheen finish to it. Mm-hmm. To be a porous a mold, you know what I mean? That's just not the way that the rubber works, So when you take that grinder to it and you start grinding into it, then you're kind of breaking down the rubber. So obviously it's a process. I don't want to go overly in depth too much into it because I don't want to get myself into trouble. So, but we've definitely tried a lot of different ways and a lot of different versions, like and it's everybody's kind of reverted back to just making their own slicks, and that seems to be the way it is for right now. So. And Dakota can tell you he's tried everything. He's run our tires, AKA tires, J Concepts tires, and he's still grinding his tires.
It's just better. like I said, everyone's tried it, and it's easier to sand down treaded tires too than it is to try to sand a slick in as well. So it just ends up just being easier, and it works better.
Weird. All right. The final question of the 10 of 10 for you, is it going to be Longhorn or Outback?
Oh, Longhorn for sure.
Boom, baby. Yeah. That's why I knew you were my guy, man. I knew it's like we didn't even have to talk. I already knew we had this bond. Like we would get along. We'd be bros, and it is the Longhorn code, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, Longhorn is pretty bomb, dude. I'm not gonna lie. We don't have. I don't know living when there's one around here, but every time I travel and go back, to where I could find one, it's good food, man.
Yep, I agree. All right. Well, thanks, Daniel, for that.
So what's the score right now?
I'm 1 up. That's all I know. I'm gonna be the reason I honestly don't care. I'll eat at any place. Like honestly, my taste, my preferences. Like I'm very easy with food, but I honestly I do think Longhorn is better than Outback, and I just want to beat Dakota at something.
Man, when this conversation started, we have this conversation every week. I about got thrown out of the vehicle. Yeah, you could go to McDonald's or something.
Okay, when we're on a trip and we're deciding for dinner, I know we're gonna butt heads. We're just gonna have to rock, paper, scissors for it. All right?
Yeah, that works.
Oh, baby!
I would have tried and true method, dude. It works.
Yeah.
That's me.
Awesome. So we're finished with this part. I wanted to learn more about you and your past. Obviously, you started with at a hobby shop. You owned a hobby shop. You know, I didn't know you owned a hobby shop, man.
I didn't own it. I worked there.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, that was, you know, about the time I was 13, my dad's friends had RC cars. They had like a Hornet and a Grasshopper and some other stuff and a Fox, and they were always driving around the neighborhood. And I had like good stuff, you know what I mean?
The Fox, that thing was badass.
Yes, sir, indeed.
That Tamiya Fox, man, with the horizontal front shock, man, that thing was quick.
Yep, for back then, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what sparked my interest. And then, you know, from there, you know, I was fortunate enough that I only lived, what was it, like 15 minutes from the racetrack. I didn't even know it was there at first. And then I looked it up, stumbled across it. Me and my brother went there, and then, you know, my parents told me, "Hey, you need to get a job. You want stuff, you're going to work." You know, so it just so happened that the guy was working there. He was going to leave, and I ended up taking his spot. And I was a race director there for, it had to have been at least, was it maybe 8-9 years, something like that. And my brother managed the shop, and I ran the races. And you know, that's where I met most of these guys, like I said. And after that, you know, while I was working there, I worked at TLR for a little while, which at that time was Team Losi. And I worked with those guys. And I was there for, might have been just under 2 years. And I ended up spending too much time with Brian and not showing up to work enough. So,
what?
Yeah, so it didn't really work out too well. So I ended up, you know, departing ways with those guys. Obviously, I've never had any hard feelings with them. I still talk to Richard and Albert and any of those guys to these days, and Upshaw. And after that, you know, I still did the track thing. I was working at an outdoor track in Grand Terrace. We had like a really small track, but we were racing gas truck there. And we were running hole shots on our buggies, like, you know, 8175, 4 rear fronts, hole shots rears, and we club raced 2-3 times a week. So I was running that with them. There was a short period of time that I worked for Pro Circuit. I was actually working in the suspension department there.
Wow.
And
that's cool.
Yeah, I wasn't there too long. I was there for about 1.5 years. And that was around the time that my dad passed away. So I was 19 then. And after that, you know, I was still kind of like toying with the RC thing, still kind of working with tracks. And I actually got into like doing some insurance adjusting for a while. So I've had a lot of different jobs. You know, I did a forklift thing, you know, insurance adjusting. I've always kind of fell back into RC. Is always kind of what I like to do. I knew how to do it. I knew everybody around it. So it just kind of came natural. And I worked for, you know, CEN. They're not in California anymore, but it's a Taiwanese-based company. I was working for them for maybe 2-3 years. And I was driving from, you know, Banning to Placentia every day. Just to put it in context, the traffic out here sucks. So it was an 1.5 hours to work and 2 hours home every day. I was just over it. I had a stick shift car, not even an automatic.
What kind of car, dude?
It was just a Honda Civic. And I was just, at that point, I was kind of over it. And, you know,
VTEC.
You know, it just didn't work out. And I wasn't really happy. And I just so happened to call Scott Hughes. I've known Scott, you know, a long time, obviously. And, you know, I said, I need a job, dude. Give me a job at Proline. It's literally 5 minutes from my house. So Scott's like, all right, dude, come in for an interview. So I met with him and Todd. And it's the only 2 guys I interviewed with. And I only interviewed with them once. And they said, yeah, when do you want to start working? So I put in my 2-week notice. And, you know, I've been here for 16 years now. So it's
Dang.
It's been fun, man. It's been a good ride, dude. I've done a little bit of everything here. I started in customer service shipping. When Scott decided it was time for him to depart, I was already kind of working with him with the race team. And then I just kind of took over from there when he left, so I've been working with the race team, for many years now. And now I'm actually, still running the race team, but I'm actually training to be a full-time machinist here at Proline too. So that's going to be something that eventually I'll be passing the torch to somebody else. I don't know, exactly when that's going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen in the next 6 months or anything like that. But working with my hands and making stuff has always been something that I enjoy. And there's a good group of guys here that have a lot of experience that I can learn from. And I'm just trying something different.
That's cool.
So now that you brought up Scott, I'm going to segue into the question that I had for you.
Oh boy. I'll get a little nervous.
We got to keep it PG-13 though.
Yeah.
So speaking of Scott Hughes, Scott is the one who actually put me on the Proline team, way back when, and then he ended up working with Horizon and everything. What is your best? Let me rephrase this. What is your best Scott Hughes story that you can tell on here?
Whoa. There's a lot of stories, and we're not going to go too far yet. But I do remember we were in Charlotte for the Worlds, and that was the year where it just nothing but dude.
Nightmare.
And everybody was buying boots. It was just to get to our container that we had was like a nightmare. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, everybody had minivans because you're at a race. You got a bunch of people with a bunch of stuff. You're gonna have minivans, right? So I remember Scott getting the minivan stuck in the mud where we couldn't even get the thing out. And he's rocking the thing back and forth, just trying to get it out of there. It's just stuck, you know what I mean? It's not going to go anywhere. So I ended up jumping in. I think I blew up the transmission, but I was able to get it out and back and forth. So that's one of the stories. And then one of the other ones is, there used to be a lot of office pranks. We don't have it as much anymore. But I remember he used to go to Mark's office and he would fill Mark's desk completely full of packing peanuts.
Mm.
And every drawer was full of packing peanuts. And they're just everywhere. So they had this kind of inner office battle going on. And then Scott had a habit too. He would go into your office and fart really bad and door and hotbox you. So those are the three easy stories I can tell.
Gotcha.
There's many others, and we're not going to go further than that.
Dude, the thing is hanging out with Jason. He has a lot of Scott Hughes stories too, man.
Yeah.
I never met Scott, but I've heard all these stories about him, man. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, they lived together for a while, so I'm sure he's got more than I do. But yeah.
Yeah, good old Scott. I miss Scott.
Some interesting memories for sure.
Do you know what's up with Scott these days?
He lives in Oregon, and he was working with MIP. Or not MIP, Lunsford.
Yeah, Lunsford, right?
Yeah,
is he still doing that?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard if he's still doing that or not. I know his wife was still working for the University of Phoenix. And she does recruiting for colleges and stuff like that. So, but I know they're still living up there with the boys and everything. I don't stay in contact with him too much anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I heard he's doing well, so that's cool. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he still is still up with Lunsford. He does. Normally, when you do emails and orders and stuff, it's through him. So.
No, so there you go. So
he still does. Yeah.
His order stuff. So.
Gotcha.
Sounds good. All right, you guys want to get in some questions here?
Let's do it.
All right, we got a question here from Dale, and it is, so I have a question about the 22X4. What is being done about the servo horn hitting the body? Anyone want to take a stab at that?
I've seen some solutions that if you're not running a Spectrum servo, you can use a different company's servo horn and it works. I think some guys are using an X-ray servo horn or something like that. I think what it does is just bring it up further forward so that it can clear the body from hitting. So
yeah, from what I've seen, it's mostly the Savox servo with the airplane offset. And I think there might be a Protec servo as well. I'm pretty sure all the other servos have been fine. It's just those two with the airplane offset. There has been a few people though that have been running those specific servos without making any adjustments or having to change any parts. I know there's a little bit of room to move the servo around in the servo mounts. So I think they're doing that whatever way it needs to go. And then also if you're using Velcro on the body, that also helps a little bit with clearance as well.
Okay. All right. I got a question here from Kyle. He wants to know, what do you guys think about wearing masks in the driver's stand?
I think right now I would.
Yeah.
A lot of us do at indoor races anyways when it's nitro. So,
yeah.
I mean, it gets so smoky that it helps anyways, just so we could breathe and don't fall over it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to hurt anything, wearing a mask. I mean, obviously, like Dakota said at nitro races, like, like Silver State or, some of the ones where the fumes tend to build up. Like, I see a lot of people doing it. I mean, I don't see why you can't, and I mean, if you feel comfortable with wearing it, I mean, for the time being, by all means, man, go for it,
Okay. Question for Daniel and Dakota. Do you guys have to wear a mask in a public building in Michigan and California? Because we have to in Illinois.
Yep.
You want to go first, Dakota?
Definitely in Michigan. We have some pretty strict guidelines right now. So mask is required.
Yeah, the governor of Michigan isn't too well liked right now, I don't think.
He fits right in with the governor of California, so.
And Illinois.
So I've got 8 masks already sitting right here on my desk. But yeah, anywhere that we go public right now in California, it's required to wear a face mask. Pretty much every single building you try to go into, it has a sign on the door saying that you're basically not allowed in the building without a face mask. So that's still going on for the time being. There hasn't been any word when they're going to lift it. So a lot of people out here have been like on, places where they're selling masks or making custom masks and stuff like that. So yeah, for right now, it's definitely any business out here that you want to go in, you have to wear a mask, and they're requesting that you do so in public as well.
Okay. All right. Next question is for Daniel. And Nico would like to know if you guys are going to make the Proline tasers for A scale again.
Unfortunately, no. The taser is gone. I know some people have asked for it back, but the problem is with like the evolution of tires, you got to kind of get rid of some stuff to make room for more stuff. We can't have, 500 tire molds lying around, hoping that one day we might be able to make another 50 pairs. You know what I mean? It's just it's not feasible. That's why we're always trying to make something new, come up with a newer design. I know everybody has their all-time favorite. This is my best tire that's ever worked here or there. And, I feel bad, not saying that I can't make the tire every time, but unfortunately, it's like I said, we're moving forward, trying to come up with new tires, new treads, new compounds. And, some of the older stuff definitely, has to be eliminated to make room for the newer stuff.
Gotcha. All right. Next comment is my favorite comment so far right now that I've seen.
Pop that up on the screen.
Yeah. Scott, the master of bad jokes.
All right.
Stick around. I'm sure I'll find some more.
Yep.
Let me Google a couple up, huh?
Yep.
In your defense, Daniel, you are not the only one that has lost. So.
Yeah, I think there's only one person that beat Scott.
Yeah.
Was it Scotty? Or
no, it was Todd with his quarterback joke.
Oh,
yep.
Dude.
All right, let's see what we got here. Bunch of people saying how awesome Silver State is. Everyone wants to go to Hawaii. That's for sure.
I'm saying, dude, turf racing on a boat.
That would be cool. All right,
until you jump your car off the boat.
To dirt.
Yeah. Yep. Next question is for Daniel. Ask Daniel about his painting days.
Oh gosh.
Oh, dude, you're an artist?
No, not that type of painting.
You painting murals?
Probably one, I was not successful, and two, I didn't make any money doing it. So that's why I'm working here. So,
dude, painting takes so much time. Like,
yeah.
It takes so much time. You think it'd be like, I'll whip this out in like 4 hours. Nah.
Yeah, no. I used to do a bunch of airbrushing back in the day for a lot of the racers. I don't even know how many bodies I did, but I did a lot. So I painted for Brian, Mike Kendall, who's on here. I painted for him. I used to paint for quite a few people in and out. Colby Poe, Mike Phillips. I painted Kinwald's bodies at the Cactus one year in the parking lot at SRS. I've done some for Cavalieri. But that was years ago. I haven't touched an airbrush in quite a while. So.
All right. Next question. Unfortunately, I have to put this on the screen, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh boy.
Mr. Baker has a question. Will Proline be making TLR bodies for our A scales?
Oh, here comes Barry.
Yeah.
So yes, there is. Okay, so we did all the 10 scale cars, with the Access. So now we are working our way into the next phase, which will be new 8 scale bodies. And
awesome.
We have Eric and Thunder going to be working on that. Obviously, things have kind of been delayed just a little bit by, everybody kind of like being jumbled up and working from home, doing this and doing that. But yes, there is a new line of 8 scale bodies coming, and hopefully they will all be out by the end of the year.
Okay. So you mentioned Eric. So I'm a huge fan of Dale, obviously. Is it pretty cool having Eric there? I think it's just really neat that Dale's been with the company for so long, and now his son is involved in it.
Yeah, dude, Eric is super chill, man. He's a super cool guy to work with. And he picked up on this stuff really fast. He didn't have a ton of experience, racing cars and doing everything that he's doing now. And, he picked up touring car quickly, and he's done really well at some races, and he's connected really good with those guys. He's got a good group of drivers now. And, he's just a great guy to work with. And, he's learned a lot in the time he's been here. And, the future, is definitely looking bright for our body technology and stuff with having him involved for sure.
Now, does he do any molding, or is it still his dad that's doing everything?
No. So, Dell still has, he's still doing a lot of the molding. Eric's doing a lot of, like, for example, the new 10 scale body line, that was all Eric. So Eric worked with the drivers. They made prototypes. They tested them. So that was Eric's doing, basically the whole
awesome
bodies. So, like I said, he's learned a lot and he's come a long way, and they're going to take what we've learned from all this and transfer that into the 8 scale platform moving forward. And there's a lot of new technology in body making that we're learning, and basically what that results in is basically faster to market for sure. Maybe able to get the stuff done a lot quicker. And we just have a really good group of guys right now, especially in body development. And obviously Eric has Dale to bounce off of too for everything. Yeah, it's been cool having him here, and obviously anybody that's going to uplift their whole family and move from Canada, just to try something, you got to give him some respect, So
yeah, well, he's got a good role model with his dad. Like I said, I've always been a fan of Dale. So, all right, we need to ask you this question. We ask all of our guests, and it's gonna kind of segue into one of my next questions I'm gonna put on the screen. What is your favorite class of all time, nitro, electric, on-road, off-road?
10 scale gas truck.
Yes, another truck guy. Yeah. What is wrong with this industry? Everyone keeps coming on here and saying stadium truck or gas truck, yet we don't have a lot of these guys out there.
Slicks.
Yeah. I definitely back in the day for sure. It was a lot of fun. I did fairly well several times in it, and it's just a fun class, man.
I wish they'd bring it. There's someone that's been floating around that's taken a 22T and made a nitro conversion kit for it. I would love to see Gas Truck come back.
Yeah.
But which brings me, I'll segue into this one here question from Tyrone. Is Proline coming out with a body for the stadium truck?
Which stadium truck are we talking about? I'm guessing we're talking about the Losi one.
I would think so. Yeah.
Deal with that. Yeah. So there's a whole another body line in the works. Like I said, what we learned from doing the new 10 scale buggy bodies, we're going to be transferring that into, the different aspects of racing. So 8 scale will probably be next. And then after that, we'll look at doing, the stadium truck, and then also, short course. What we really need to do, though, is we really need to see more stadium truck participation.
Yeah.
It hasn't really been a huge class lately. Even the Nationals last year, I think there was maybe 20 guys in the class altogether. So we've definitely got to focus on, kind of what's relevant at the time, and then, kind of work our way from there. But, yeah, I feel you, Tyrone. I know Tyrone. Tyrone lives over by me. He's one of my guys. And, we'll definitely work on that. And like I said, we're just kind of working the priority list.
Okay. Well, with that being said, and sticking with the stadium truck, I know your competition, digging in the knife a little bit, your competition has come out with a body for the Mini T. Have you guys got anything planned for the Mini T?
We have something coming. I'm not going to tell you if it's a tire or a body or suspension or what, but there's something coming. Yes.
Awesome.
Eclipse.
Good.
Eclipse.
Yeah.
Eclipse.
Designed body clip.
Super lightweight.
Magnesium.
It has a GPS built into it. You body clips.
Yeah.
This one you can't lose.
Nice.
You can never lose it. You always find your body clip on the track.
It automatically will find its way back home.
Yeah, you have to download the app though. You have to download the app and then install it on your phone.
Yeah, exactly.
The good old brush days where you get like body clips stuck in your motor.
Dude.
Oh, those were the worst, dude.
Yeah.
Do you remember just seeing brushes all over the track? People would just be just, after they like you see brushes everywhere, man. That's something I was just thinking about. Like, yeah, we don't see brushes anymore. I remember seeing brushes on tables and benches and on the ground, all over the place. But
when's the last time you seen a Cobra live in somebody's pit? It doesn't happen.
It's been a few years.
Long time ago, man. Long time ago. Yeah, that used to be a thing, man.
Oh yeah,
turning motors.
Yeah. The next question here is for Dakota, and I'm very interested to see or hear what your answer is, because I actually struggled with this a little bit when I first got the 8XE. So Omar wants to know, how can you calm down the steering for the car with the kit setup besides turning down the servo?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know exactly what the kit setup is, but just some general suggestions I would make. Definitely make sure that the steering linkage is all the way back on the slider rack in the center. That will definitely calm down the steering initially a lot. So other things you can do is you can change the kick up in the front. So if you want to go, you can change the pills. So I would suggest probably going one up in the A block and then one down in the B block, just to get pressure off of the front of the car. You could also mess with the pistons. Maybe go up in oil, go up in spring, things like that. And then also just kind of, depending on the track, we actually changed the camber link height on the tower quite a lot, raising that up and down depending on the track conditions.
And if you wanted less steering, would you go up or down?
So normally when you lower the link, the car will drive flatter, and then when you raise the link up, it'll kind of have more roll to it. Generally speaking, if you raise the link up, it will have less steering.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Generally speaking, because sometimes that's backwards.
So this is
Yeah, it depends on the grip and tires and all the things, but generally speaking, yeah.
So this is kind of funny. Jose Alvarado, one of our regional guys,
our dudes,
our regional team managers here. Here's his comment, right? I have a Dodgers mask, so hopefully I don't choke. No, hey, hey, we're from Chicago. We have the Cubs. We're the ones that are used to choking, not the Dodgers.
Jose.
That's funny.
Jose.
Hey, Dakota, your mom wants to know if we're going to have any TLR masks.
Yeah.
or Proline.
I actually have one. It's not here. It's in my car. They made it for me for when I go to these nitro races. It actually has Proline on the sides of it.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Tell Nancy to shoot me a message. I'll see if I can get her one.
All right. Next question. This one's for Daniel. And William wants to know what is a good tire and compound for a beginner on carpet indoors?
So it kind of depends on what type of carpet you're talking about you have to drive on, because the black carpet's definitely a lot more aggressive than like the gray office carpet. So a lot of the guys, when it's super aggressive, they'll run like the Z3. And then when they don't have as much grip, they'll run the Z4. So it just really depends on what type of carpet you're going to have to run your car primarily on. Like I said, the black carpet generally is quite a bit more aggressive. And it also depends on how long the carpet's been in. Maybe it's newer, it doesn't have as much grip just because it doesn't have the lay down of the carpet. So so that's kind of the two compounds we bounce back and forth between. So it really just depends on what you're gonna have to run on.
Okay. All right. Next question from Larry. Another one for Daniel is what happens to the old mold?
Larry, he wants to buy tire mold. What the?
I'm trying to think of what Larry wants to buy here. So most of the molds, they for the most part they've been either recycled or they get scrapped. Like I said, we've been doing this for over 30 years. So can you imagine if you had a warehouse full of 30 years worth of molds? How much space that would take up. It would just be astronomical trying to keep track of all that stuff. So a lot of the stuff has been either recycled into newer molds or has been, obviously, recycled off into a steel plant or what have you. And you kind of say your goodbyes and so.
Having a going away party.
Yeah, we throw a little, adios and attaboy, bring in the next generation.
Gotcha. All right, how about this one from Edward here? Proline Truggy Scribbles.
Proline Truggy Scribbles. Well, we don't make the scribble.
Yeah, I thought that one was priceless. I had to put it up there.
So, I'm not sure where we're going with.
Probably not.
Proline Truggy. We have the positron, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna put you on the spot.
It is what it is, man. Like I said, I'm fair at everything, man. I'm a good sport, dude.
Yep. All right. So Tyrone is saying here, and this is something that you haven't shared yet, if this is correct. Respect to Proline for making face shields for the medical field. Yeah. So once all this stuff kind of went down, Todd here is very generous as far as donating to charities and causes, and especially to our community outreach. So we did reach out to several local hospitals and institutions, and we did end up making face shields for them because obviously we have access to thermoforming. And so we were able to do that, and we were able to actually offer some to the public as well. And a lot of people took us up on that, and they actually purchased some for their loved ones, for people that work in the medical field and the industry. And several of the local places out here actually sent us some pictures and videos thanking us, for the donations, just to try to help them get through the day, a little bit easier. As we know, with the protection equipment that people haven't been able to get their hands on, anytime anybody can help, I think it's a great thing. And
And like I said, the owner here is very big about giving back to people.
Yeah.
Very humble from where we've started and where we are today. And it was awesome. I don't know how many went out the door, but I think it was close to 2,000 to date.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
So so it was just a cool project. That the guys in R&D were able to come up and execute in a timely manner. So
yeah, that's what I think has been really kind of cool about our industry is hearing about stuff that Todd has done and you guys have done for the medical field. You got Brandon Rohde from Live RC doing the T-shirt program. We're actually doing a T-shirt program to help out all the dealers. We've got a couple of, actually a bunch of auction items that we're doing to raise money for the dealers. So it's just neat to see how our industry, everyone thinks it's so big, but in reality, it is pretty small. But it's just neat to see everyone joining in and pitching in and giving back to the community.
Yeah, I think in the long run, I mean, everybody wants to be, a part of helping people. You know what I mean? And anybody that has the opportunity to do that, they should take advantage of it. You know what I mean? Because it's definitely it makes you feel good. You know what I mean? And it's definitely affecting other people positively in their life.
Yep. Question here for Dakota from Franco. Can you increase kick-up by changing pills in your front block?
So like I said, you can raise the pills in the A block and then lower the pills in the B block just to take some pressure off the front end, and really changes how it drives, how it goes through the bumps, and things like that. So we mess with that quite a lot as well, just depending on the track conditions, if it's bumpy, if it's not bumpy, the grip level, and things like that.
Okay. All right. Next one's for Daniel from Nico. Will Proline make prisms for the stadium truck?
I believe they're working on some stadium truck tires right now for carpet. I'll have to double check on that. But I know we have 5 or 6 tires in the pipeline right now, and I think stadium truck might be one of them.
Good. Good.
Nico, you can always email me.
Okay. Our buddy William Garcia. He always has a bunch of questions. And this is one that we usually ask our guests as well. But what is the best comeback story you have ever seen?
Comeback story. Is this RC related?
Yes. Kind of like Jason Ashton at Silver State or the truck nats bumping all the way from like the Z main to the A main.
I remember years ago at Silver State, like Scott basically showed up the day of racing and bumped all the way through. And I'm pretty sure he won, if I'm not mistaken. So that
wow.
Yeah, if I'm not wrong, I think that was at Boulder. I don't remember what year because I'm old now and I don't remember everything. But I'm pretty sure he just showed up, threw down, and like bumped all the way up and ended up winning the final, if I'm not mistaken. So that was pretty cool. And I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, I have a decent memory. But I mean, there's a lot of guys that you fall to the back of the pack and come back and. But yeah, I mean, that kind of stands out. I'm trying to think if there's anyone that's just like, there's just been so many, you know what I mean? But to me, anybody can like have just such a bad race to where they're like qualified so far down. If you can bump time after time after time after time, not only are you getting your money's worth, but, it's just awesome to see. And, yeah.
Okay. That's the thing some people forget about Scott. Everyone hears all the crazy stories about Scott, or they remember him as a team manager. I mean, he was a podium at the World Championships. I mean, the dude could wheel a race car.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Scott was no slouch when it came to driving, for sure. And him and Mark were a good team together.
Yes, they were. Next one is for Dakota. Get out your canned answer, Dakota. Any news on a new TLR truggy?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's coming. I ran something new in Nitro Challenge. Definitely, still working on it here behind the scenes.
It's coming.
And, there really hasn't been any new information yet. So
it's coming.
yeah, I'm sure. Hopefully, they'll when they announce it, and then you'll have some more info on it.
Basically, Thomas just said it's coming, so we know it's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming, and we're working on it. Just don't know when.
Yeah. All right. Next question is for Daniel from David. Is Proline thinking about making a side lock or fugitive truggy tire?
Yeah, so this has come up a few times already. We're definitely considering possibly doing like the slide lock or maybe something a little bit different in a variation of that. The Fugitive itself, I probably say we would steer away from just a little bit in truck just because it would be quite heavy for a truggy tire. So we're going to try to steer maybe probably towards the slide lock or a design like that for truggy. So there's definitely, like I said, we're always working on something new. It's just kind of going in order of priority still.
Always working on something new, baby.
That's my line.
You know what's going on.
Yeah,
you know what's going on.
Industry.
Well, being that now I'm in the machine shop quite a bit. I see the stuff and I'm helping make this. I can tell you there is stuff coming. I'm just not telling you what yet.
Yeah.
Well, that's like, I love all the Facebook messages we get. Oh, can you tell me what the new product is coming out next? It's like, no, we can't. How many times do we have to say we can't tell you? All right, so this one I'm going to put on the screen. All right, so just got a Tenacity DB Pro. It's amazing. Okay, this is TLR. It's not Losi, but since the Tenacity DB Pro is my all-time favorite vehicle that we've released at Losi, I'm going to put it up on the screen.
There you go.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Hey, it was awesome to get Fox involved.
That's a cool. Beast.
Yeah.
All right.
It's crazy just the amount of vehicles that Verizon comes out with, and just all the cool stuff, and just industry in general, just how crazy and how cool everything's gotten here.
Yeah, and that's the one thing is, going back to our thing, you guys haven't, the customers out there haven't seen anything yet. We're blessed that we get to see, like Daniel says, what's coming down the pipeline, and it's incredible. I've never seen anything like what we're doing or as good as what we're doing with as much detail. So it's going to be an incredible year for Losi, and I can't wait for the stuff to come out. I can finally talk about it. But all right, next one is for Dakota. Nico asks, 10 scale, what is your favorite class between 2-wheel or 4-wheel?
Yeah, right now it's 4-wheel. It's just it's a new car for me, and it's been going really well so far. So it's always great when when you have a new platform, just kind of a refresh. Makes things fun again. You could do all the testing and figure things out and stuff. But yeah, I've always enjoyed 2-wheel too, just the kind of the finesse behind it, the time and effort that it takes to throw down and be competitive in 2-wheel now, especially since we've switched to slicks. It's just it's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of dedication and a lot of time behind the scenes to be competitive in that class.
Okay. Next question is for Daniel from Jonathan. Which tire should be ran up front when using the resistor rear?
It just really depends on what you want. Like like a positron front's going to be a lot more aggressive than like the Electron. So a lot of guys try to use the Electron, so it's you kind of balance out the steering. So yeah, it just really depends on what you're running on, what you're looking for. Again, Electron a little less aggressive, a little more neutral tire. Positron's definitely a little more aggressive as far as steering wise. So it just depends on what you're trying to get your car to do. So if you want the car to dive in hard and have a ton of steering, the positron's going to be better. If you want your car to not steer itself into the ground, so to speak, and be a lot harder to drive to where you're trying to take the steering out of the car, then the Electron's going to be better for you for sure.
Okay, I'll add to that. So speaking earlier about like sanding down the slicks and opening up the tire and stuff like that. What have you seen, or what do you think is like one of the best traction compounds out there? If you can talk to that.
It depends on the surface. Like when we came out with the S3 compound, it was just crazy how well it worked on certain tracks. And then obviously we have the clay compound that's been working in a lot of places forever. So there's always when you're in the tire game, you never rest on what you have. You're always trying to find something a little bit better, maybe a little bit faster. So, we spend a lot of time and a lot of money, a lot of effort in playing with new compounds. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. We've got Matt Wallace in the office here who's actually learned how to kind of like mock up the composition of the compounds and actually kind of like come up with his own formulas now, which is kind of cool. So we can try different things. So, obviously right now our S3 and our MC are kind of like our go-tos. That's not to say that something won't take its place in the next month or two, when we figure out something else, but that's the cool thing about, what we're doing is you never, and you guys too, you never settle. You always want something improved. You want something different. You want something better. So, and then that's just the mindset of competition and racing.
Okay. All right, let's see here. Jose's having fun with you here, Daniel. He's got a question for you.
Okay, so Jose is asking, do we ever talk to the old molds and say thanks for the good times? I don't necessarily talk to them.
Do you pet them? I
might kind of like salute them on their way out, But, there's definitely some memories in some of those tires, you know what I mean? Like, like the crime fighters and old school stuff like that. Like, people that have known will always remember stuff like that running a bow fighter, crime fighter in front, bow tie in the rear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it's a bummer to let some of them go. And, I don't think I've shed a tear yet, but, maybe the next one I'll do that just for Jose, though. I'll record the conversation for him.
There you go. Okay, with that being said, we've asked you what is your favorite class, favorite vehicle. What is your favorite tire of all time?
Gosh, favorite tire of all time. I think I revert back to the crime fighter. It's just because that worked everywhere, and that's what we ran everywhere. It was just so awesome. And, it's just it's kind of staple for the industry. That and the whole shot. Obviously, the whole shot has been around forever. And, it's still our go-to tire for truggy, buggy, 10 scale, loose track running. And so, yeah, between those two, it's definitely almost a fair match, but I think I lean towards the crime fighter more.
Okay. All right. Got a comment here for Nancy, which I can address for everyone. So if you go to horizonhobby.com, our main webpage, there'll actually be a banner right on the front of the page that will, if you click on it, that will take you to the auction site. So we've actually, I know for Losi, what we've got is we've got number one of the limited edition mini tees, so 0001. That's being auctioned off. We've got the same thing with the Arma. I know it's not Losi, but with the Arma vehicle, we've got serial number one of the limited edition for them. So there's just a ton of cool, rare stuff that are being auctioned off. And like I said, all the proceeds are going to the hobby shops. And there's airplane stuff and all kinds of quad stuff, radio stuff, not just our stuff. But yeah, if you guys head to horizonhobby.com, right on the homepage, there'll be a banner that will take you right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Question for Dakota here from Aaron. When is the center diff for the 22X4 finally going to be available again?
Yeah, that's I don't have a day on that. I don't know if Thomas says or not. Just like looking on faster.
I think it's actually pretty soon.
I'm sure there's.
I haven't looked at.
Yeah, I'm sure there's still probably some hobby shops out there that have them, but I'm not sure on the exact date.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the due date for a while, but I think it's, if I remember correctly, it's pretty soon.
Yeah.
What I ended up doing was actually just building it separately, like by parts, because it was out of stock pretty early. And what I did was just kind of order the pieces, the outdrive, the case, the seal set, the gears, and then just put it together manually without having to have a kit. I just kind of assembled. I got the parts and then put it together with the parts. So that's another way to do it. So if you don't have the actual full kit, in your hobby shop or whatever has the parts, you can just assemble it from parts. So, and then you get an extra when you get the gasket and O-ring set. You actually get an extra gasket and some screws and stuff. So like and some O-rings for the inside. So like you have another set to when you go rebuild, so that your seal and stuff is fresh and you won't leak oil and stuff. So yeah, try piecing the pieces together from parts and individually, rather than having to wait for whenever they get back in stock. And most of the other hobby shops or online retailers might have that stuff ready.
Yeah, perfect. Question here for Daniel. From William, can we get some wheels, tires, and a body for the Losi Mini 2.0 gray office carpet?
Well, like I said, we have some stuff coming for the Mini T, and I can't tell you what it is yet, but it probably will work on carpet. Hint, I don't know. Take it for what it is. I'm not good at. I don't. I'm not good at. I don't leak information. You know what I mean? It's just,
I don't leak information. Get it?
These would be the comments behind the scenes.
Yeah. I know. So
you're not going to get the full spiel out of me. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. No. I mean, and people always constantly still try. You know what I mean? Like they know what the answer will be, but maybe this time if they ask, you'll let out a little secret. You know what I mean? It's like, nah.
We had
of RC, man. They're on it.
Yeah, we had a younger kid on Losi's Facebook page message us asking about how we need to bring back the micros. I am not exaggerating. There had to have been 45 messages sent back and forth. I can start a GoFundMe page. And what if I got like 37 guys together to buy them? And it never ended. And I'm just like, I wish we could, but it's not that easy. And all that kind of stuff.
I remember them things.
Yep. Tyrone was sad that the Bulldog body got discontinued, Daniel.
Yeah, the Bulldog had its day. We had
the Bulldog.
Man. But hey, man,
I remember that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You gotta innovate. You gotta make stuff new. And I mean, everybody falls in, like I said, to their favorites, and we all have favorites of everything. And it's sad, but stuff has to be discontinued, and we have to make room for other stuff, and we get a lot of requests for custom bodies, and people don't understand, like, when you're dealing with licensing and stuff, you can't just go make a 68 Volkswagen, or you can't just go out and make something and try to sell it under that name, because you're going to have an attorney contacting you. You know what I mean?
Cease and desist, baby. Cease and desist.
So, we have to work within, the guidelines that we have. And, like I said, I'd love to make everything for everybody that they've ever asked for. But, selling one body, unfortunately, cannot keep the building open.
So, we get, I don't want to say bashed on, but I mean, we get hit pretty hard with people complaining that, hey, even though you stopped making that car 10 years ago, how come you don't have parts for it anymore? Do you guys get a hard time of why you don't have tires anymore? Do people get really upset with you guys, or are they just bummed?
I think more or less people are just bummed. For us, it's not necessarily always a do or die situation. Like, if they can't find an A-arm, they'll never be able to run that car again. You know what I mean? But in the grand scheme of things, they might be able to find like a substitute for the tire that might work, or they can kind of modify something to make it work. As the A-arm, or a pivot block, or a transmission case, something more critical that only works on that vehicle, they don't really have another option. But at the same time, people have to realize, like, you might not be able to find a part for a washer dryer that was made in the 80s, because that discontinued for so long.
Yeah, or just like a car, like you trying to restore a car. You're trying to restore an old classic car. You have to find stuff, and most of it's not, made by OEM.
Yeah. Market stuff and yeah, it's just the way it is, you know what I mean? So
yeah, it's unfortunate. All right, got a question here, Dakota. You can use your canned answer on this one. It's from Jonathan. Any updates on the new 8 RTR?
Yeah, no updates yet, but it'll definitely be posted about it when there's an update.
Yep.
The update is Dakota wants to get back to track with it.
Yep. All right, so question for Daniel here. Should we use the X-Ray XB4 front wheels for the 22X4 when using Proline wheels?
That's what guys have been running, yes.
Great, I'm glad I know that now. Okay, that was an easy answer. All right, okay, so the next one I'm going to put up here, this is something that a lot of racers, because I think I'm almost positive I know what Daniel's answer is going to be. And this is something that we struggle with a lot, with racers inside of our company, with all the people. And I'll put this up on the screen now. Aaron asks, what is the bigger market for Proline, the racing market or the bashing market? I remember when there was tons of Proline T-Max stuff at one time.
Yeah, so, obviously we make a ton of different stuff, right? We've got rock crawling, we've got drag racing now, we've got, stuff for the X Maxes. We've got, all the stuff for monster trucks. We've got the stuff for, a lot of the TLRs, TLR stuff, the Horizon stuff, the desert truck. So, definitely the stuff that we sell more to the general public is definitely more than the racing side of things for sure. So not that one is equally more important than the other to us, because, we're striving to do the best we can in all aspects of what we're selling but yeah, just you figure out that the racing market compared to, say, you got racing market, you got 6 other segments. Those 6 other segments combined are definitely going to be bigger than just the one, So, and that's going to be the same for most companies.
Yep. Yeah, we struggle with that a lot inside of our company, where a lot of us hardcore racers want to focus on the racing stuff, but yet the RTR market, that's where you make all your money. I can't even go into what the percentage difference is, but it's dramatic, definitely dramatic. But
yeah, we, like I said, we treat both equally as important.
Yep.
But, definitely, the goal is to have your product in everybody's hands, and the only way to do that is to be able to have product for every type of situation, type of application, and that's what we're striving for. We're striving everywhere,
Yep. Hey Daniel, you talked about people contacting you and they want to, hey, can you make this body? What is the just a guesstimate number of how much does it cost to start a body from scratch and come out to basically on the shelf? Just to do one body, you think, with all the proper legal copyrights or the trademarks and all those things involved?
Yeah, I could tell you it's not cheap. I can't give you like a solid number, just because that's kind of like proprietary information, obviously. But by the time you deal with licensing, you got to remember with licensing too, you have to promise them a minimum amount of what you're going to sell. Just say, hey, I think I can sell 10 of these. Can you give me a license? They're going to be like, you're going to sell 10 bodies and you want to start legal. So, it definitely varies by if you have to have a license, if you don't have to have a license. There's a lot of work that go into these molds that people don't see. They're very consuming. It's not like it's just done in a day. And, there's a lot of technology. So you have to pay for the programming, the materials, the people that are developing it. There's so many different factors that go into it. It's not just like you just walk up to a machine and print it out and here's a body. You know what I mean? There's the underlying factors, and like I said, I can't throw the dollar figures out there, but just know, if you had to go make your own, it's not super cheap to be able to not only make it, but you have to be able to have something that you can mass produce off of that's not going to degrade and fall apart. So it's definitely in the materials you use and the experience that you have doing it.
Okay. There's a next question here from InfoKiz. which we kind of already discussed a little bit, but I think it was more on the tire side. Does Proline keep the body molds? And I'll follow that with the second part of this is, do you make the tire molds and the body molds out of the same material?
No. So the materials that are used are completely different. Again, I can't go into the details of what they're making. Obviously, this is why we have a business, and I wouldn't expect Nike to give me the formula of what they use in the sole of their shoes versus what Under Armour does or whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, they're definitely totally different materials. They're run completely different in different types of machines, and we don't save all the body molds. Again, we'll recycle them after so many years of being inactive. Again, after doing this over 30 years, we just don't have the space to have like a whole separate warehouse just to store stuff that's going to collect spider webs and dust. Basically you just have the memories of it, the pictures you have, and like I said, you move on to the next project. I wish there was a museum where we can store everything from all time.
That's a good idea. What if we had like a general, place that somebody would maybe volunteer, that we could have kind of an RC museum and a collection of like stuff like this, where this is, you guys are throwing away things that are kind of a part of the history and heritage of RCs, even though they don't really have a place for it now. At once upon a time they did, and it was part of the culture. And it sucks to hear that a lot of this stuff does just get tossed out and just thrown in the garbage. It'd be nice to know some of this cool stuff would go somewhere that in 20, 30, 40 years time, we have this kind of cool little museum that was kind of started by some sort of GoFundMe project or something that that somebody was willing to undertake and have to work and coordinate with all these other companies and stuff. But it'd be nice to have like this really old school heritage type of like monument 40 years from now.
Yeah, I can imagine the size of that warehouse, though. I mean, look at how much different stuff it would be. Like, oh my gosh, I couldn't even imagine. It'd be like an evidence locker for the last 30 years at a police department. You know what I mean? Which is insane. But yeah, I mean, I think like, maybe if you had like, select items that made an impact on the industry, you know what I mean? Like the 8 or, like a whole shot or something that's kind of been timeless. I think. Yeah. And then I think you got to pick and choose what you think is going to be, that relative thing that you want to keep. You know what I mean? So, but like I said, I can imagine like someone being the curator trying to keep track of all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'd have to be somebody that's like retired, wealthy, and just has that interest, like to want to do that. But like, it would be cool if somebody was out there and financially and had the space to do something like that, because they would be able to collect a lot of RC history and basically for free. Companies just throw stuff away, because I know AE, when they moved, they threw away a lot of stuff, and they reached out to Jason to say, hey, you want any of this crap? And they're so that is true. So like, they threw away a lot of stuff, man, like because they moved, they relocated, and they're in a different building now. So like, they threw away a lot of things, man. So like, it's unfortunate, but like you said, there's not enough space. You have to move on. You have to go forward.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like, if you guys are car guys, you guys have probably heard of Boyd Coddington, and it was a shame when he had filed bankruptcy. The government came in there, and we had some street rod people through my dad's connections, and they said they basically went through there and took everything and just started throwing everything away, throwing things in the garbage. And like me with my art background, Tom Taylor and Chip Foose, there's original drawings that they crumpled them up, threw them out.
Wow.
Just all these custom billet pieces, just chucked them in the garbage. And it's sad that people don't realize, how valuable that stuff really is.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I mean, are there any molds that you guys have kept for pure nostalgic sake?
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff around the shop that we have, like above my old desk, in the other part of the office, I have like my old Blackfoot. We have original RC10s with our stuff on it. We've got the conversion that we used to do for way back in the day. We've got a lot of stuff. Like in my desk right here, I've got the bypass shocks that we used to have for the X-Max or not the X-Max, the T-Max. So there's stuff floating around that we have. I've got old boxes of tires that are, in the old packaging. There's definitely stuff that has been saved. And like I said, not everything has gone to the wayside. You know what I mean? Like they've saved either like the product on something or, like a portion of the mold. But not like I said, not everything that has ever come through the pipeline has always been like a success and has had, the desire to keep it as memorabilia, Yeah,
it's crazy how quick this industry changes just with all the products and like with the drag racing scene. I mean, it seems like it's just kind of taken off like just crazy how much stuff has been coming out with that. And then, a couple months later, it'll be something else. And you guys will just, everyone will be just coming out with a ton of product for that. It's just crazy how quick everything has changed in this industry. We were talking about like, brush motors and all that stuff. Like, I mean, it really wasn't that long ago. And you look how far things have come, in the last 10 years. It's pretty mind-boggling.
I'll give you an example right here. So this is a spinner kit from way back in the day that we used to do for the series. Still brand new in the package. So
nice.
I do save some stuff. We do keep some stuff around. Hold on. Let me go back to my desk.
Spinner kit. What is this spinner kit, man?
It was spinners, dog.
Spinners for the monster trucks.
So if you guys remember the T-Max, some of you guys do. There's a whole truck set.
Yep.
Brand new in the package for the T-Max.
Nice.
Bypass shock and everything.
So when was this released?
A long time ago. Back when before I was a dinosaur.
2000 or 2001, maybe?
I think it was like around 2001.
Wow.
Yep.
20-year-old pair of shocks.
Yep. You kind of see like
new in package, baby. How much will those bad boys go for on eBay?
I don't know. They're not for sale.
You lost Daniel.
All right. I can't find the other one. On the old package tires, but I'll let it go.
All right. So here we go, Thomas. This one is just for you. You're getting some ammo here.
What?
Mel Marks. I was stationed in Hawaii, 87 and 90, and we had the Hawaiian Open. I believe it was 89, and Mike Reedy was there with J.D. Beckwich and a young lady whose name is a blank.
Oh, J.D. Man, I haven't heard that name.
J.D. Beckwith, dude. Dang.
I haven't heard that name in years.
The Hawaiian Open.
87 to 90. They did have a race there in Hawaii so he was stationed there. So I wonder how long this race was going on for.
I don't know,
just
but you got your name.
Is it just the 89?
I don't know. We're going to have to look that up. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I've never heard about this race.
Is there even a race over there, really?
It's time to bring it back.
Who was the woman, though? That's what we got to figure out.
Yeah.
Racing way back then?
Dude. Yeah. Who
with
could
Mike,
it be?
I don't know, dude. We're going to have to consult Google on that one later.
Oh, man. Crazy. That would be cool. Mike Reedy and J.D. Beckwith, man. That's a cool race.
All right. Got a question here for Dakota. I'll let Dakota answer this one. Dakota, will there be a 22 6.0 AC?
TLR is always working on new products.
So let's just say that it's safe to say there's going to be a new car eventually.
Yeah. There's going to be another two-wheel eventually.
Yeah. There's going to be a new two-wheel. Yes.
I can tell you. I can answer this if you want an honest, solid answer. Will there be a 22 6.0 AC? Absolutely not. There will not be a 6.0 AC.
Yeah, but a new car, yes, there will be.
Yep.
There's pretty much a guarantee there will be a new car at some point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Always.
Well, my son's a little late to the show, Daniel, but I'll let you answer this one. What do you think about the way that 110 Tire Game is moving, tire prep and such?
I think
Be honest.
Covered that earlier. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of taking a brand new tire, grinding it down to nothing. I'm not a huge fan, of the liquid wrench thing. I know, everybody likes to be competitive, and I know what it takes. Just me personally, I just don't think it's it's good for a lot of people. I mean, if you're a racer and that's what you want to do, that's fine. It's not good for getting new people into it. It's not beneficial for a guy to go buy brand new tires and be like, man, now you just got to grind everything off that I just bought. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I get the racing side because I've been a racer, and I hang around with all the racers a lot, and I get both sides of it, but I'm just not a huge fan of dealing with all that. And I wish somebody could come up with something that would work like liquid wrench that doesn't have the chemicals in it or the smell. I know people have tried, and maybe there will be something in the pipeline eventually. But I just hate the fact that everybody's traveling with drills and grinding all this stuff and making a mess in the hobby shops and at the track, and the track owners don't want to deal with it. And these guys are dropping sauce on the pit tables, ruining the paint and the pit mats and everything else. So that's just my take. I mean, like I said, I love the racing too, so I get that side of it as well. But me personally, not a huge fan.
Yeah, it's almost progressed too far for the average racer. Like you said, racing is racing. We're always going to do, whatever the fastest is. But for the average person, it's a lot.
Yeah, we skipped their window, man. One, we don't even have like a beginner car for for them to get into. We don't have it's all high competition race kits, right? We don't have like a nice RTR package that's cheap that can get people into it, really. And then it's like also the tire game, and then we have cars that now come out every year. There's a new car, so it's like they just invested. Say like you just bought the car, and 3 months later they just released a new car because of the timing that you got into it, and then it's like, cool, now I got to buy a new car, or like, you know what I mean? It just is, everything around it makes it hard for new people. It's hard to attract new people. We're kind of pushing it away. It's too detailed. It's too technical, and it's going to eventually hurt us in the end, I think.
So I have a question for all three of you guys. So back in the day, there was no tire sauce. You had to figure out how to make your car work with the tire and the traction. Do you think it will ever get back to the point where the industry or the tracks will say, that's it, no more tire sauce whatsoever, figure it out?
I think it's possible.
Yeah, again, the point where, now that people know how to do this stuff and how to use different chemicals and variations is going to be, how do you police it and keep people from cheating, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, like I said before, it's in every aspect of different racing. Everybody's looking for an edge. So unless there's a concrete way that you can prove that somebody's not doing that, and every facility can do it the same, Roar can do it, IFMAR can do it, every organization can have the same process, it's almost going to be impossible, and that's what that's the hard thing, is just trying to control everybody,
Okay. As a tire manufacturer, are you for or against control tires or handout tires?
Personally, I like the handout tire thing just because it makes it easier on everybody that's at the event. One, I don't have to drive a truck halfway across the country or ship 12 pallets of 5 different compounds and 12 different treads. And then the racers themselves, if they're racing against the same person, the same tire, same compound, then really all they have to do is focus on their setup and then their driving. It takes away that kind of variable, you know what I mean? The other side to it, though, that does hurt, I guess, a little bit is, if you win that race, everybody's on the same tire. Well, now you can't really say, well, I won the race. Well, yeah, you won the race because everybody was running the same tire. You know what I mean? But when it does work, it works well. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it takes a lot of I've seen it to where it takes a lot of pressure off the drivers. You know what I mean? And they're not.
Yeah, definitely.
Have all this stuff and chasing compounds and trying to figure out what they're supposed to be running. They could just more focus on their setup and how they need to drive, So like there's two sides to it, and but I'm definitely a fan in certain aspects to it for sure.
Okay. Dakota, how about you?
Yeah, what do you think, Dakota?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good and bad at the same time. I mean, obviously, it makes things a lot easier. I mean, tire prep is 90% of it now. Not even just the tires themselves, but just the preparation that goes into it. That's the most important part when you go to the races, is figuring that out. You can have a car that's not, maybe the setup isn't quite right, and if you have the perfect tire package, then it's not such a big deal. But if you go out there on some step pins or something, and you're supposed to be on slicks, like you can't even go straight anymore. It's a total tire prep game now, and I mean, you'll see that's what everyone focuses on. I mean, you have to have tires prepped when you get there. You have to be prepping while you're there. I mean, it's just like 24 hours a day tire prep. The more you do, the better you are, the more successful you are. So it takes that out of the game, which is nice. But I don't know. It definitely would be different. Trying to find that balance as far as like just from like a professional standpoint. I mean, obviously that's gonna hurt like the promoting and things like that with tires, because you're not really promoting them anymore. It's just who can get the bid in to be able to have those tires at that event, so to speak. So from that standpoint, I don't think it's good, but I think from ease and like from a less stress point of view, it's definitely nice sometimes.
Okay. So with that being said, I've got kind of an odd question for all three of you guys. Don't take into the actual physical cost of things nowadays, but do you think it costs? I think the answer is yes, but how much more do you think it costs to race today than it did back in the day?
Who wants to go?
I think it costs a lot more now, for sure. I remember racing back in the mid '90s. Like I think stock motors were like $30. Kits were, I think the team kit was like $189 or just under, like $199 or something like that. Tires. Obviously inflation. Like everything was a little bit cheaper back in the day.
Yeah.
But I think just the requirements of the things that you needed to have to go race, besides the batteries. I think the batteries could be expensive because they didn't really last that long. And they were pretty expensive. Like they're over $100 a pack or whatever. So like, and they didn't really last you more than a season. Like lipos now, you could run basically the same lipo for 5 years. Really, sure they won't be like as fast as a fresh one, but you could still run it forever. So I think it was. I wouldn't say it was significantly cheaper because you had other things you had to do to maintenance, like a lot of motor stuff, a lot of prep stuff. But I think you went through way less tires. That means you went through way less wheels, and glue and all those other things. So I think it was cheaper, but I wouldn't say like a ton, like thousands of dollars cheaper per season. You still have to travel, still have to get a hotel, still have to pay entries and stuff. So most of that cost is still, relatively unchanged.
Yeah, I think the same. Obviously, you guys had like 5 or 6 motors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Batteries. I mean, you would dead short them at night and let them sit overnight. So if you were racing, you had a brick of batteries, maybe 7 or 8 with you at a time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would run it once, dead short it, and not run it again until maybe the next day or the next weekend. And then obviously you had to cut comms, you had to have brushes. Now, you've got a $500 eye charger, you've got to have a power supply, you've got to have a discharger. You're kind of, obviously, like Thomas said, there's inflation on everything. You know what I mean? Like all the prices of everything have gone up from the gasoline you put in your car to the tires you put on your real car. It's just the natural progression of everything just kind of getting more expensive in the economies that we're dealing with. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like I said, you kind of like wash one to the other. Now you can run the same motor all the time. You can run the same battery all the time. You're not having to change them out as often. Obviously the kits now are a lot stronger than they were back in the day. You definitely don't break nearly as much. with the materials we have now and the designing and stuff. So yeah, it's hard to say, I mean, like I said, one hand can wash the other depending on how you're viewing it,
Yeah, for sure. I look at it as back in the day, you needed more motors, you needed more batteries, you broke more parts. But now it's kind of funny because when Max and I go to the track, I have my own duffel bag of tires and he has his own duffel bag of tires. So it's like now your money just went somewhere else, it seems like.
Yeah, it's definitely changed. It used to be. I mean, we used to. My back in the day, I was a little kid, so it's a little, maybe a little harder for me to know the price on things. But I mean, I just remember like racing stock and stuff, just having boxes and boxes of motors and brushes, and you had the rectangle brushes, and then you had the octagon brushes, and then like you had the different material ones. And all the different springs for those, and just all the work, all the batteries, having to match all the cells and all that stuff. And I mean, I still remember going through a lot of tires and stuff as well. But I mean, obviously a little bit different. Back then it was IFMAR pins and step pins and hole shots, and now it's slicks and slicks and slicks. So it's
One-run
definitely
slick,
different.
baby.
Did you mention slicks?
Yeah. Which compound, but it's slicks. I will say that's one thing though about slicks is you're racing on slicks, so you just gotta figure out the compound and the tire sauce.
It's almost like a handout tire.
Yeah.
Well, here, let me ask Dakota and Daniel this question. Does it matter? Okay, I get the whole theory of grinding down a slick. Does it matter what tire you start with to get that slick, or not really?
Well, it does to a certain extent because the carcass can vary. If the carcass is thicker or thinner, So I mean, it definitely can, and like a lot of our guys tend to gravitate towards like the Electron front to grind down, and then we use like the positron rear to grind down. So, but yeah, like you said, it can depend on the thickness of the carcass, the overall shape of the carcass, if it's flat or round. So yeah, so there's that variable for sure.
Okay. With that being said, Daniel, what do you feel is the most popular A-scale buggy tire and the most popular 10-scale buggy tire right now?
For right now, for 8-scale, I want to say we're still just trucking away with the whole shot. The whole shot and the slide lock have been doing really well. And then for 10-scale, it's still the positron for us right now. That thing has just been cooking, man. We've come up with some new stuff. We're working on some new stuff too, but the positron for 10-scale has definitely done very, very well for us.
How about what's the most popular compound in A-scale and in 10-scale?
For 8-scale, definitely the M3 compound. It's been around for the longest. It's the most widely used for us, for sure. And then for 10-scale, right now, it's probably C compound, just because of the amount of tracks that there are right now. Is definitely, the MC works the best. And if you went to carpet, like the Z4, would be the most popular. So it, obviously we've got a million different compounds. So, but yeah, those are kind of the ones that stand out, with what's going on right now.
Okay. So my wife has been around this the whole time. And, since Max was super young, he's been racing, I've been racing. And we always smell our tires. And she thinks we're crazy because we smell our tires. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, that's how you can tell what compound it is. Are you guys are you three in the same exact boat?
Yeah, for sure.
People have seen me sniff tires before and think I'm crazy. But yeah, definitely smell the variation in compounds.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the tire compound by the way it smells. Some of them are very plasticky, some of them are rubbery, some of them are just kind of weird, so like, yeah, if you're familiar with your compounds and you can smell them without, you could smell them and not have to touch them and be able to understand what what compound it is, and then you can verify by touching it and pulling on it a little bit, and you'll know.
Yeah. I prefer the Sharpie method, but they definitely do smell different, that's for sure.
You're not tasting tires to make sure what they are.
Yeah.
A blind taste test. Let's try that, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Are we doing that in the next episode?
Great.
Yeah. All right. Let's get back to some questions here. So InfoKiz says, I have the trailer hitch plug with the tire rim and spinner.
Yeah. So back in the day, this was years ago, we had a spinner line. It was basically tow hitches that would go in your receiver for your car. And we had one I think it was the Big Joe tread, and we had one with a street tread. And you would your trailer hitch, and you got a Proline product covering your hitch. Yeah. So
nice.
For quite some time, they've been discontinued for a few years now.
Yep. Tyrone's got a good question for you, Daniel, because we've asked a lot of our guests the same question. What do you think about tire warmers in off-road racing?
If it works, it works. I mean, there's no doubt there's been places where it's been beneficial, you know what I mean? And I mean, like I said, you can't deny the fact that if something is 0.3 to 0.4 faster a lap, just by doing that, you know what I mean? It's and more consistent. Then if it works, it works. Like I said, and it's weird to see sometimes because you see a bunch of guys run around an off-road track with tire warmers, but I get it. If it's a little bit of advantage, I understand.
Yep.
I personally,
William Gar.
Yeah. What do you personally think about him?
What I personally feel about him?
William Gar.
I don't know. Yeah, just one extra thing to carry in the pit bag.
It's a lot. It's a lot of thing too. It's not just like a small box or like a can or something. It's like this thing, and then you got to have another thing to put it in, and then it's like you got to put it in a thing, and it's like, man, how many things do I really need?
A lot of things.
A lot of freaking things, dude. A lot of freaking things.
I'm 100% for it.
So 100%. Yeah. Since we're talking about this, I would rather see people do tire warmers than heat and burn them in.
Yes.
Yes. So if the option was no burning in, but you can use tire warmers, I would 100% do tire warmers over having a track burn in and just letting everybody just go wild and free.
Yep, 100%.
It's quieter and it smells less.
Yeah, it's basically doing the same thing, heating the tires, opening the pores, allowing the sauce to get in there and start to really kind of make that chemical change or whatever's happening, with the sauce and the rubber and the heat. But it's a lot better, cleaner, safer, and less noisy. It's just
the good thing is it doesn't make a mess at your local track either. It's not tire shavings all over the place. It's not tire sauce dripping everywhere. It's it's your self-containment. You use it, you put in your box, you take it with you.
Yeah.
You're not leaving a bunch of stuff behind for somebody else to clean up.
Yep.
I work the track, man. I know how.
William Garcia
RC people, man, they're the worst.
Yeah. William Garcia wants to know if that's all Mini T stuff in the boxes behind you, Daniel.
I don't know, man. I didn't set up the boxes. I'm not allowed to touch stuff here. It could be.
Looky here.
Mystery box.
Here we go, guys.
Look at this.
Mr. Hughes is present.
There he is.
The one and only.
Dang.
So I'm assuming this is the woman's name from Hawaii.
Before, yep.
Huh. How does Scott know that?
Scott's been around.
He was probably there.
How does Scott know this? Interesting.
Question solved. Now we just got to get back to Hawaii.
Nichelle Rivera. I wonder what Nichelle Rivera is doing these days.
How are you pronouncing the last name?
Rivera. I wonder what she's doing. freaking at a Hawaii race that no one knew about. She was hanging out with freaking Mike Reedy, and she was doing something with RCs. You know, it's like, this is a weird combination. I wonder what this lady's doing these days. Steve,
maybe she's still married to Steve.
Oh, there we go. She was a racer's wife. Makes sense. All right,
Dakota, you can answer this one. What's up with the new Truggy?
Yeah, I raced something new at a Nitro Challenge, and when there's some more information, it will be announced.
The Truggy is coming now. We know that
it's coming.
Yes,
it
is coming.
It's in the works.
We can promise you something new eventually.
Hey, Dakota.
Something new.
Yeah. Dakota, for next week's episode, Dakota, you got to get a little tape recorder. Or like a little full thing.
Play it.
Just go.
No, you need flashcards.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
There you go, flashcard.
I promise it's coming.
Yep.
Oh,
I need a sign behind me. It just lights up behind me, and I just get out of the way.
We can make an updated banner. Check this out. You guys keep talking. I'll make something.
There you go.
All right. So this is interesting. You know, yes, this is more of an off-road discussion, but InfoKiz does have a good point. One-run tires is what killed foam tire touring car racing, which is for sure. Agree with that 100%. Like 12 scale, I absolutely love running 12 scale. It's a cool class, but right now they're running 1 to 2 run tires, and it's you buy whatever the tires cost, you grind them down to nothing, you use them twice, you throw them out.
Yep.
That's why I hope the rubber tire 12 scale thing takes off. And this is interesting. So speaking of foam tires and touring car, InfoKiz also comments that back in the day, Kinwald was using suntan lotion. And I remember hearing that a lot of the oval guys had messed with suntan oil or suntan lotion at one time.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that Brian tried back in the day. I know that was one of them. Obviously, they had, diesel fuel and so many different things that people were trying, you know what I mean? And he was kind of like the chemist of the time, but yeah, it's weird to think that something like that might be able to work, but I guess you never know until you try it, right?
Yeah.
I remember diesel fuel back in the day.
Yeah.
Diesel fuel and buggy grip.
Yeah.
Diesel fuel's still around, man. I've used that probably like within the last year.
Well, Dakota would know this track, but like leisure hours when they were running the indoor nitro in the wintertime, diesel fuel was the number one thing. They'd soak it in diesel fuel, put it in their Ziploc bag, let it sit in that bag the entire week until it was race day.
Wow. Yeah.
Then it smelled like a truck stop. But
not good for any of us.
Yeah, no. Here's a very good question for Daniel. Jonathan asks, what's the best stuff to use to clean your tires without affecting the compound?
Straight simple green.
Okay.
Not diluted, just full strength.
Okay, perfect.
Take all the tarnishing off of it and kind of clean it up. Yep.
Simple green, man. That stuff's good.
Yeah, and the good thing is it's biodegradable too. It's not like absolutely horrible to have it around, you know what I mean? So, and it works really good. And it's what we use to clean the bead on the tires before we glue them too, So.
Yep. All right, how about this for an Austin? Here's your new product idea, Daniel. Scented tires.
So do you guys remember back in the day they had the nitro scents?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You guys think
super strong.
Why would you do that? Like, you're not supposed to be sniffing fuel.
Well, hey, it's just like vaping nowadays.
I guess, but yeah, you're not supposed to be sitting at your exhaust pipe trying to say, "Man, is that bubble gum?" It's
root beer.
More.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
This is
the scented tires is tire sauce.
Right. Yeah. So if we could take liquid wrench and maybe make it smell like root beer or something, I just still don't think you should be smelling it. But
Sticky Kicks has like scented tire sauces, don't they?
Blueberry. Yeah, they got blueberry and stuff.
Yeah, there's it has a hint. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, Thomas, back in the day, they used to make additive so your fuel would smell good as it burned.
Yeah,
It was
now
strong too.
like I never knew this. Like,
Yes.
Why would people do this?
That's what I say.
There's nothing like the smell of castor oil in the morning.
I mean, I get it. Like, I love the smell of VP when I go to the motocross track. You could smell it burning, and it smells bitching. But I'd be like snorting it all day long, and I got a bug attack.
Holy cow!
All right,
wow.
question for Daniel here. Aaron wants to know: has Proline ever had nitro fuel, or ever thought of making some?
No, we've never had nitro fuel, and honestly, we really don't have the interest in doing it. Mainly just because of all the hazmat, the stuff involved with trying to do it, the potential that obviously, stuff like that can have, reproductive harm and cancer and all this other stuff. It's not really something that one, we're not an expert in it. And two, we just, there's a lot of people that are already experts in that field, like, VP, Byrons, obviously you guys get, the nitrotane, all that stuff. There's already experts in the field, so we're just going to leave it up to those guys. It's just not something that we've tried to venture into. We just try to stick to making the tires, bodies, and the accessories that we know how to do.
Okay. Not sure what this question means, but I'll throw it up there anyway. Daniel, will Proline make Proline shorts?
You want Proline shorts? I could possibly try to get you some shorts embroidered. We make short course. There's so many ways I can go with this short thing. Like
yes, definitely.
I can make this sentence short. But yeah, he kind of left me open on that one. So I'm going to say no, we're not making clothes, and yes, we make short course stuff.
But you guys have this cool plaid flannel that I see some of the guys.
Yes.
Yeah. What's up with this plaid flannel?
So, every year, Dakota's probably gotten some of this stuff over the years too. For Christmas time, the owner likes to do kind of custom one-off stuff. Dakota raced for us for many, many years. And he would send out like care packages, with embroidered flannels, or jackets, or like a custom shirt or something, just as an appreciation to the guys. There was a point where we were selling them, kind of as one-off deals, if people wanted to buy them, because we had a lot of people asking about them. Obviously, they're kind of expensive to make, and we really try to keep it, to like a tight-knit group of who's able to get them. But yeah, he's really big at giving gifts towards giving back to the guys that have been with us all year. So
very cool.
Okay, here's a good question for the three of you guys, because the three of you have traveled quite a bit. Would you guys happen to know what would be a comparable product to Simple Green in Europe?
Wow, that's a tough one. The Simple Green really have that exact formulation overseas. Obviously, I've been to Europe, traveled all over. So basically, if you can find any type of cleaner that's kind of biodegradable, doesn't have like a harsh chemical content to it, is what you're going to be looking for. You definitely don't want something that's got like a strong solvent base or anything to it. But for me to actually pinpoint it, I'd have to do some research online. I don't know right off the top of my head. Usually, if I have to go overseas, I'll pack Simple Green in the boxes and hide it with the tires, just so I have some.
Yeah. Normally people use it with their brake cleaner, I think, for the most part.
Right.
But
They use a lot of brake cleaner.
I don't really ever see Simple Green or anything like that.
Yeah, they have like this really tall can
of
brake cleaner usually that I see.
Yeah, it's like 3 times the size of our normal ones.
Yeah, I was like, what's this can? Why has it got to be so tall, man? Like
it doubles as a baseball bat.
So is that? So is the brake clean strictly for 10 scale? What do they use to clean the 8 scale tires?
Same.
If they're dirty or muddy. Really?
Just water.
I don't know about as far as cleaning after they're dirty.
Yeah, I would assume you could just use some type of basic soap or something. Yeah.
I said,
if I got to travel and I know I'm going somewhere, I ship Simple Green one way or another, whether it be in my carry-on or in the boxes that are being shipped, or just to make sure I have some. So, but definitely maybe look up online the what's in Simple Green and try to match it.
Okay. All right. So Nico clarified it. Yes, he is looking for some Proline shorts.
Yeah, unfortunately, right now there's a few other projects that are higher priority than shorts, but maybe someday. I'm not going to say for sure.
What kind of shorts is Nico looking for? You looking for cargo shorts, basketball shorts, like
plaid shorts?
Yeah, khaki shorts, like
I mean,
swimming shorts. Come on, man, like shorts. There's like so many.
Dicky shorts. It's very broad.
Yeah. Come on.
I remember True used to have shorts with all his sponsors on them. He probably still has them.
And those were
Dickies. Yeah,
I want to say those were Dicky shorts. Yeah. Yep.
Were they by his butt? So everybody had to look at his butt. It's like, what's that say, Truey?
Man. Thomas, how much coffee have you had?
Oh, dude.
Have you had a lot of caffeine?
No, man. Well, I have a McDonald's Coca-Cola. I have a McDonald's Coca-Cola. That's it.
Nice. All right. Tyrone has a question here, which I actually wanted to ask you earlier, but I forgot. So Tyrone asks, club racing at the Proline test track.
Yeah, so we did it once. It was kind of on a whim. I just threw it out there. We had like 85 people show up. It was actually a good turnout. I wasn't expecting it. So yes, there is a plan that I do want to get back to club racing. I just got to work out the schedule because obviously we'll have JBRL coming back this year. We've got possibly Grassroots doing one of those rounds. So yes, I would like to try to get back to running club racing here at some point. I just don't know when yet. And especially we got to get past all this. The thing is, I try not to do, I don't like to step on the other tracks' feet. You know what I mean? They've been around, they've been established. They're open more to these guys than I could ever be just because of my travel schedule and my work schedule. So if I do that, I got to try to find the happy medium to where I'm not affecting, I got Thunder Rally that's literally, 10 minutes down the street. I got Revelation that's maybe a half hour. I've got Palm Desert, which is Anthony Westergaard's track, 30 minutes from here. So I just got to try to balance to where I don't feel like I'm affecting these guys in a negative way because ultimately I work with them throughout the year, and I don't want to take away from their business either. So,
gotcha. Okay, Dean Clark has a question for Thomas. Did you race at TRCR in 2014?
I probably did. I mean, that was probably during J Concepts race maybe. So yeah, I might have ran something 4-wheel maybe. At TRCR sometimes I run one class because I kind of know I've been there. I kind of raced there in the past, so I kind of knew like the tire situation already, and it doesn't really change there. So yeah, it's kind of easy to set up there and race. One of the best tracks, man. Like TRCR, the clay indoor track that Scott Brown has in Tacoma is awesome. Like the grip's great. It's kind of like the small style track, which invites a lot of laps and a lot of repetition, a lot of consistency. And the locals there are really fast, so they always kind of like make you really have to get on top of your game because you can, any pro can come in and get beat by one of these guys if they aren't paying attention, because the competition is tough there. So yeah, I probably raced that race. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, Tacoma is definitely one of my tracks, one of my favorite ones.
Okay. All right. Luke has a comment that I agree 110% with. Proline has some of the best apparel in RC. Are there any new shirts, hats, or other cool items coming out soon?
Okay, yeah. So one thing that I'm sorry, my wife's trying to figure out why I've been on Facebook for 2.5 hours, so she was expecting me home. So yeah, every year we revamp our apparel line for sure. We don't stick to the same design. We work with a lot of great designers. We got an in-house guy who's really good. We still work. If any of you guys have ever dealt with Upgrade, we still work with Robert Ibon sometimes on designs, and he's really good with the artistics of putting stuff together. So every year we revamp the apparel line for sure. So there are new hats coming, there are new shirts coming, and hopefully, obviously when we get closer to winter again, for us, winter, for you guys, you're already wearing these. It's 95 here, and I can wear a hoodie. But yeah, we'll do some new hoodies and stuff like that as well. But yeah, we tend to revamp the apparel line every year for sure.
Okay, great, very cool. Let's see here. Dakota, your mom wants Daisy Dukes.
Okay. One, I don't want to see Nancy and Daisy Dukes, and two, I definitely don't want to see Dakota in them. So that's a no. Just delete that.
Maybe for Halloween.
Yeah.
You can talk to your make sure you say on that one.
Here's a good question for Daniel, I'm assuming. PJ wants to know, did they talk about what happened to the Pro 2 chassis?
I'm not sure what he's referring to. I know that we discontinued the Pro 2 platform. We actually worked with a different manufacturer on that, and unfortunately, we don't work with that manufacturer anymore. The Pro 2 thing, it kind of did good for a while. Then the short course thing kind of slowed down, but then everybody started converting the Pro 2s into drag racers. So unfortunately, kind of what's out there is out there. We're not going to bring the whole truck back and try to do it over again. Like I said, we just don't have the access to that company anymore that was helping us with it. So, So, obviously there's people still doing conversions if you can find the parts to do it. But yeah, I'd like to say I can bring it back, but you couldn't really predict that drag racing was going to explode in the last 6 months when it was discontinued, 2 or 3 years ago. So, like I said, it goes back to what we've talked about. I'd love to have something for everybody every time they request it, but it's just, unfortunately, it's just not possible,
Okay.
What do you think about drag racing?
It's cool. I'd like, these guys have pretty cool setups, man, and like the body designs and stuff like that. I grew up around cars my whole life. My dad used to restore cars in the garage. I personally have a 55 Ford pickup truck that's restored. My brother's got a Nova. My younger brother's got a Chevy pickup. So like seeing these Nova bodies come back and stuff like that is cool to me. I like to see the muscle car stuff, you know what I mean? And all that. I've always been an older car guy as opposed to the newer cars. So I appreciate it. I used to watch drag racing, with my dad on television and stuff. So I think it's cool, you know what I mean? So, I think if you can find any niche that brings somebody into RC, it's a positive. I don't really care what you're doing. If it's rock crawling, if it's drag racing, if it's racing, as long as you're picking up a controller, having fun, and you're involved in the RC market, I'm all for it.
Okay. All right. I like the way Tyrone is thinking here. Proline beanies for winter.
We haven't had beanies in a while. So actually, that is something that I have mentioned, and I know that they are looking into it for this season. So I think we had beanies maybe about 3 years ago, and we haven't had them sent. So yeah, definitely something that we're considering. A lot of questions about apparel. Apparently, we need to go into more apparel market.
Yeah. Yep. So, Thomas, looks like Dean might have raced you in four-wheel buggy. Wait.
Hey, did you beat me?
Did Dean beat you?
What's that?
The question is, did Dean beat you?
Yeah,
or did you beat Dean?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is this like a little bit of a nudge? Hey, I beat
who won?
Exactly.
Who won, Dean? Who won? I don't remember this race. It's obviously like 5-6 years ago, and there's a lot of races I've been to. So, did you whoop on me, or did I whoop on you? I can't remember this.
If I've ever been in a race where I was racing against Dakota, he definitely whooped on me. No questions asked. I know my place.
All right. Speaking of apparel, Aaron has a question here. TLR shirts, yes, 2 weeks. We should have the new TLR shirts in stock. Whoops. Okay, Luke, you bring up a great point here. We've been having a lot of meetings about this. So Luke wants to know, TRCR loves having you guys up here. Has the June TLR Cup officially been canceled, or will it be rescheduled for later in the year? Thomas, take it away.
Oh man, I don't know exactly how much detail I can say about what's happening, but I can say with the TLR Champs race in June, I talked to Scott about it, and he thinks it's probably going to be a little too close to when they're gonna reopen. So his gut feeling says that we're gonna postpone, or depending if we can find a makeup date for it, it might get canceled. But there's also an alternative that might be turning into something else that we have kind of working on. We just got to put the pieces together to see if it all makes sense. And I know Frank's working on something, but it is going to include TRCR. So I can't really tell you any real details about it until it's actually solid and we can actually go forward. Because if it doesn't ever go forward, there's no point to tell you anything about it, because it's not going to happen. But as of now, I think we haven't made the official announcement that it's going to be postponed or moved. I think I need to kind of reconnect with Scott and see what he wants to do ultimately, if he wants to try to postpone it to later in the day or just cancel it and see what we have with this new project that we might be working on. So we'll see.
Yep. And with that being said, I'll just address, so with everything with Horizon, everything is being discussed right now. So RC Fest, Axial Fest West, Axial Fest Midwest, there have been no solid decisions made at this time. And from what I'm hearing, we should know within the next week, 2 weeks at the very most, of what our exact plans are. And the reason they're not making any decisions right now is every day it's changing, and we don't know, this state is different from that state, which is different from this state. And then all of a sudden they open up this state, and then the next thing you know, they said, well, if there's too many outbreaks, we're going to close it again. I know California had some problems with their beaches, stuff like that. So to answer this question and the other Horizon events, at this time, we just don't have a solid answer, but I believe in the next week or two, we should have everything solved.
Yep.
All right, let's see what else we got here. So, William Garcia, have any of you guys raced in New Jersey? I know I have not.
I have not, no.
No, I have not.
Thomas?
Dude, I don't know if I've been there or not, to be honest, but I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. I've been pretty close, I think, but.
Okay. Well, boys, we have our answer. Thomas got his butt whooped by Mr. Dean Clark with an XB4.
Dean
Boom.
Clark, huh?
Hey, it's not on Lifetime.
Hey, I was working that weekend. Hey.
Yeah.
I hope you whooped my butt when I didn't get practice. Hey, no, I don't know. Like I said,
don't get this, bro.
When I get a chance to race, it's actually pretty nice. Like I don't get to do it all the time, and like every year I probably race maybe 4 or 5 times a year. So I do kind of pick and choose where I kind of raced or what makes sense, because obviously Daniel knows he's working too, and it's not always the easiest to try to juggle both. So one usually suffers. I'll let my racing suffer because it's not why I'm there. I like to race because obviously my background from RCs is racing, but and it's nice to connect and familiarize and remember why I love this stuff. So it is what it is. Sometimes you get your butt kicked. It's just, it is what it is, man. Have fun still.
Yep. got another question here. Speaking of events, and I know that I'm interested to hear what the answer is on this one, because I know that a lot of the crawler guys inside of Horizon absolutely love Proline by the Fire. So have you guys discussed plans for Proline by the Fire?
Yeah, so I think Paul did a post not too long ago on Facebook. It's definitely postponed for now, just because of the facility that we were going to use and everything. They haven't been given the okay to open, and we don't know 100% when that's going to be. Like I said, they're doing Californian phases. I guess starting tomorrow, they're going to allow some small businesses to open, but any places that are going to have big gatherings, they're still not going to allow for a while. So for as of right now, he's definitely got it pushed back. I don't know the date. I'm not really connected 100% with the By the Fire. I know that Paul did post something, so maybe check our Facebook page for that. But as of right now, it's for sure been pushed back just because of all this going on.
Okay. All right, great. Hey, Thomas, don't feel too bad, because Dean said you ran great, buddy.
It's not good enough.
Yeah, I guess. I wonder where I finished. I wonder where I finished.
Not good enough.
I wonder where I finished.
I'm telling you, man, we need the lifetime scoring.
What usually happens, especially at Tacoma, is like my tires aren't broken in enough because I actually don't really run that much. So you're like Tacoma, you got to have your tread height dialed in, man. Otherwise, your car's just kind of off pace.
I'm just gonna say I get beat.
Hey Thomas, hey Thomas, you could just say that if you would have had Proline tires, you would have beat them.
Oh, come on.
I don't think that's true.
That's my butt kissing for the guest. Come on.
Yeah, let's not start the finger poking here.
That's half the fun.
I know. I'm just messing.
So, yeah. So we're okay. So we're getting close to run out of questions here. But I got a couple for you, Daniel. So you have kids. Are any of your kids interested in RC?
My daughter, not so much. Like I said, she's 18, graduating this year. She hopefully is going to find a path that she hasn't yet. But I need to get her, figure out what she's going. I did have my son. He did race the entire holiday brawl with me at OCRC, which is the first time he's really raced. He ran the novice class, and he loved it. So we're going to try to go back when we can. He definitely wants to do it more than my time allows sometimes. You know what I mean? And I do have one of our monster trucks that we can go to the park and run to. But he had a great time at the holiday brawl. So we're definitely going to do that series again this year. Obviously everything permitting, and so he takes some interest to it for sure. And he's done some sports. He did some football and stuff. So so we'll see. I just I let them kind of choose what they want to do. I don't push anything on them. I don't believe that's healthy for somebody just to force something on their kids to make them do it. They have to want to do it, and so that's just the way it works in my house. And some people may say I'm wrong or I'm right, and that's just the way it is. So if they want to do it, I'll support them. I know where to get stuff. So
As long as it's TLR, we're good.
Right?
Daniel's the AE guy, man. He runs AE cars.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, easy.
All right, cool. Well, that's about all the questions that I can see here.
I got to run the AE. You got to balance.
There we go. All right, Thomas, Dakota, you guys got any other questions for Daniel?
Hey, Daniel, what is your proudest thing that you've accomplished while working for for Proline?
Did you almost totally mess up the whole?
Wow.
And I was going to hang up right now.
That was a Freudian slip.
That's a good question, though.
Yeah. What is the proudest thing that you're that you've accomplished working 16 years here?
I mean, honestly, just obviously the relationships I've built. Dakota can attest to it. When we work together really well. I feel like I'm really easy to work with. I've known tons of these guys for, you know, the majority of their racing career. So I think for me, that's kind of like the proudest thing is like when I go to a track, everybody knows me, they know what to expect. You know, I have, you know, people that don't even race for me that will come out and ask for advice and help. And just being in the industry so long and knowing the things I know, you know, it's just, I like to help people, you know what I mean? That's what I'm here for. And that's why, you know, I go to the races and drive across godforsaken countries and fly everywhere. And you know, for me, just being here for 16 years, you know, not giving up when things might have gotten a little tough or when I've had issues, you know, with people outside the company or things like that. Yeah, just for me, I mean, most people can't say they've been somewhere with the same company for that long, you know. It's a great place to work. You know, it's very, very family oriented for me, you know, and, you know, I'm very blessed that I was able to get in when I did and that there was an opening. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard for people to say that they can find a job that, you know, they mess around with cars and stuff, you know, and toys and whatnot all day long, you know. I don't consider them toys, you know, but other people do.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I could think of far worse things I could be doing, you know, in my life than what I'm doing right now, for sure. So.
Very cool.
Yeah, that is something true about you, man. Like, every time I see you at the track, you know, I always get a sense that, you know, this is one of the good guys. You know what I mean? Like, we don't really know each other that well. Obviously, we, you know, say hi, what's up, and, you know, we'll chat and see what's going on and stuff. But like, we've never really hung out or did any of that stuff. But I always had the sense that, you know, you're one of the good guys. I could tell right away, and I think I have a pretty good perception of people. You know, and it was just really cool to see that and to know that at the track that's what I'm gonna get.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
like, you know, we're in a small industry. There might come a time where, you know, I have to work with any of these guys again or anybody. You know what I mean? And you never want to burn the bridges. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you never want
great advice.
Leave on bad terms, and you never want to be. You don't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? That guy never gets far in life. You know. You have that personality where if something bad, you just kind of brush it off and move on, and that's what I try to do. And you know, there might come a day where Dakota comes back and races for us again, and you know, we never parted on bad terms, and I never say a bad word about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just the way I was raised. You know what I mean? By my parents. You know, you don't treat people badly unless you want to be treated badly. So I try to instill that in everything I do. And obviously, that's the morals of the company here too. You know what I mean? Like we want to treat everybody with respect, and it'll follow. You know.
Yeah. You think how many thousands of people have you helped? You know, in the last 16 years, it's crazy to think about how many people you've interacted with. You know, throughout the country, throughout the world, like just so many people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't even list all of them. There's just so many.
Man, it's going to be weird. You know, to be quite honest, it's going to be weird to go to the track and not see you there. Like when you decide to, like, you know, step back and do the shop thing, which is cool. I think, you know, you have to do what is right for you and what you feel is going to make you happy. So I think that, you know, I think finding something like that is going to be cool for you, you know. So, but at the same time, I'm going to be a little bit sad, you know, to be honest, like that you're not going to be at the race.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we haven't set a date yet. And you know, anybody that has a family knows it's hard to travel. And you know, I've been doing it for 15 years, basically straight now. You know, my wife works a full-time job. She's raised, you know, the kids, you know, the whole time I've been gone. You know, she's definitely been a blessing. And yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's, you know, I've missed birthdays, I've missed holidays, you know, and stuff like that. And
yep.
They're getting to the age now where I'd like to be able to spend, you know, obviously, you know, having an 18-year-old, she's going to go off to college and move on with her life relatively soon. My son's 11, I've got, maybe 5 more years until he starts driving a car. Lord help me. And so, yeah, it's just, I'm 41 now. I'm definitely not getting younger. And I'd be hard pressed to say that I'm not going to miss it, because I am. I'm going to miss everybody, at some point. I'll definitely still, go down to OCRC and maybe race a club race, or pop into Thunder Rally or something like that, eventually. And, this isn't like just a light switch thing. I'm still training over here. There's a tremendous amount of stuff to learn with the machine and everything. So, but yeah, I'm definitely going to miss everybody. But for the sake of family and stuff like that, it'll be a step in the right direction. And, Proline can definitely use the support, as well with somebody over here, in the tool room as well. So, yeah, it's going to be bittersweet. I don't know how I'm going to feel at the end of it, but, I feel like at this time, just learning something new, it's definitely, a step in the right direction.
Family's important, man. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. So I got one last question for you, Daniel. And we've asked a lot of our racers if they can, especially like Dakota, we've asked this to him, how many nationals have you won? How many world stuff like that. So since you've been team manager, do you know how many national championships or world championships you have been a part of?
Oh, gosh. Off the top of my head, national championships, it's a stellar amount, especially with that guy. He raked up many in, I think it was 2 years or 3 years in a row, where Dakota was hammering on people. So, yeah, between all of them combined, it's got to be, I don't know, maybe 30 to 40 nationals. And you've got 1, 2, maybe 3 world championships. So,
wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's cool. A lot. It's hard to keep track of. I mean, I can definitely, write it in a book and it, probably fill a whole page, and, Dakota was a huge part of that. He's been really successful when we work together, and, obviously, Ty and all these guys. And, yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's hard to remember back that far. There's just so many good memories and so many races. So.
A lot of years, and a lot of classes.
Sure. Yeah, that's for sure. A lot of classes.
Is there just one last quick one? Is there one race that really stands out to you, like that's special to you, that you think about and you're like, man, that was an awesome race?
Honestly, they're all special to me. You know what I mean? There's not one that stands out more than the other. Maybe. When Ty won the Worlds, when we were overseas, that was pretty awesome. Just because we had so many new products there, and we didn't really know what to expect, and we were racing on stucco, and
yes,
the place was just nuts. And you hear there's an active volcano that blows stuff on the track, and you're just like,
you could see it smoking there in the background.
Get out of here, you know what I mean? But there's memories from all of them. I mean, Thailand and Argentina, and there's good memories from all of them. And you have in racing, you have high points and you have low points, and even though some of the low points, you might remember too, it's just you were there, you got to experience it, and not very many people get paid to travel around the world, and to see portions of the world doing what we do, and for that, that's pretty awesome.
For sure. Thomas, why don't you take us out?
All right. I want to thank Daniel for coming on the show. It's like he said, it's a great time to connect and get to know each other and be able to really just talk about some old memories, talk about the future, talk about what's going on right now, and hopefully we can get back to racing sooner than later. I know all of us miss it and are looking forward to being back at the track. I hope everybody is, doing well at this state, and keep positive. stay hungry for RC. We're gonna be, doing more of these shows, but hopefully we'll start to be able to do some live video from the tracks, and get back to racing. I'm looking forward to it. We just don't know really when. Every state we go to, every day is a different situation. There's updates and this and that, but we'll try to get to the track. We'll try to get everybody kind of linked in, and hopefully looking at videos and photos and back to racing. But Daniel, thanks a lot for your time. Always a pleasure. Like I said, man, every time I see you at the track, I get pumped up just because I know. I guess I feel like I have another like ally on my side, even though we were separately, like in different companies doing the same kind of deal. But I knew that this is a good dude, man. Like I could tell right away. So I appreciate everything that you've done to help me along the way, and because when I came in, I was kind of like the new dude, right? So like kind of traveling the tour, kind of new, and you always made it very easy to just hang out and not be intimidated or not be like it was just kind of nice to have like somebody as a base, man. Like, and I know I never told you this, and I never actually like spoke to you about the stuff like this, but like the people that kind of touch my life and the people that I have respect for, like I care a lot about. So like for you to just be at the races, man, and have that kind of attitude that you'd have, the always willing to help, always doing like what you can to help the situation. I think the industry is really just has been lucky and fortunate to have you a part of the industry in your position and in the position to be able to touch so many people's lives as you have, man. So I was happy to have you on the show, and I was looking forward to hear your stories, to get to know you better, and because I remember talking to you a long time ago, and it was that you let me know like, hey man, I'm going to be switching out and stuff like that, and I'm like thinking to myself, who is going to take over your position, man? I'm like, who is going to be the guy? Like, dude, you can't go, So, but I know what it's, I know that you've been traveling for 16 years, and I know the traveling part. Dakota knows the traveling part. It takes a lot out of you, and after a while, all you want to do is just be home, So, I'm not saying like, thank you for your time and this and that. I mean, in RC, but obviously you still have time in the industry and traveling and being a part of everything. But from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thanks for everything that you've done. Even though I don't know it all, but I could tell there's a lot of good stuff, man. So with that, thanks everybody for tuning in. Each episode seems to have some sort of different kind of meaning at the end. I tried to kind of maybe connect or reflect or say something awesome about the guests that we have, because all the guests that we have had a huge impact in RC. Todd Hodge, Scotty Ernst, Daniel. We have our future guests coming up. Everybody, Barry Baker, everybody has been so like just legends, man. So thanks for everything, Daniel, and thanks to everybody for watching at home and being a part of the show. All the questions, man, we love it. Answering everybody's questions, whatever concern that you may have, we appreciate you paying attention, watching, sharing, liking, and we'll hopefully catch you at the track sometime soon. So stay safe. And I'll see you later, everybody else.
See you guys.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
See you later. Have a good night. Thanks, Dan.
All right.
Yeah,
cool.
thanks,
Thanks again, guys. See you guys. Good night.